What is going on, Don't Unfriend Me Nation? Welcome to Facebook, Instagram, Spreely, Twitter, YouTube, Wimkin, Rumble, Twitch. Did I say Facebook, Liv?
No.
Facebook. Anybody else? All of Damani Felder's followers. Good to have you here. All of the Dumb Nation who usually shows up. We should have a fairly large show tonight. Let's get this going. I'm not seeing anybody on. There we go. Now they're starting to come in. Wimkin should be going hot here in just a second once the portal clicks in. We had about a couple hundred people interested in coming from Facebook, and then I know Wimkin is getting tagged, so we should have a metric crap ton of people coming in through Wimkin. There it is. Wimkin's hot. Liv, give me green light if you could. 49 seconds, folks. We will be live.
Let me look. Yep, we're good.
Popping off a Wimkin. Goodbye. All right. Tonight we've got on the show Damani Felder. We're going to dive into Project 2025, the Democrats' new bone that they're chewing on, because that's what they do. They always have a bone to chew on, and 2025 is it. We'll go over it and why it has nothing to do with Donald Trump. We'll go into Project or Agenda 47 Donald Trump, which will cover Donald Trump's platform. A lot of people say, hey, I want to hear what Donald Trump's platform is. Great, you're going to hear it tonight. We've got a bunch of other stuff. Meltdown videos, everything else. We'll be back. 3 minutes. We're going to have that out there too. I'm not going to tell you what type of calendar. You're going to have to join to figure it out. Gold membership, bronze, silver, all that type of stuff. If you've never joined the Olympics, it's kind of like that, except it's not. 5% given back to veterans, free advertising, free news, all of it at the DUM Club. Stop on by, see it. We also have quarterly gift boxes. Not too bad. Stop on by.
Yay. Hog Twins here. Check out our friend Matthew Spirit at his podcast at The DUM Show and his website. Yeah, don'tunfriendme.com. Yeah.
Step into a Wimkin.
Oh, sound.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show.
Every
with
night.
Your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, Olivia, and Mike. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on the Spreely.tv network and all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. Damani's probably wondering, how many commercials does this guy have? Seriously. Welcome to the show. Man, I am so stoked to have you here. It's been like 2 years in the making. Trey, your brother, was here, I don't know, about 2 years ago. And it was just such a great interview, good conversation. We expect the same from you. I have been a fan from afar, so I've got a little bit of a crush. So, Damani, welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. It's good to have you here, man.
Thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure and an honor. I'm looking forward to our discussion this evening.
Yeah, it should be fun. It should be fun. So listen, I guess we want to cut our teeth into a few things. And this is Olivia to my right. And then we have Amy all the way over there. And Leroy isn't here because he's on vacation, but one of your biggest fans, and he is a giant puss. So
he's watching.
I don't know.
Watching.
Leroy, can I say that transitional surgery needs to happen stat? So if you have not had a chance, folks, you can go ahead and donate to the Don't Unfriend Me show at linktapgo.com. It's right down there. This will pay for Leroy's surgery. Let's get him right. Let's get him where he belongs. Damani, first question is, I have the reason why I always knew I liked you, but I saw that you have been going through an amazing journey this year when it comes to family and it comes to personal growth. And it's very similar to my story. I feel like we're Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder on the keyboard right now, just a little bit, because if I go back 7 years ago, minus the habitual Oxycontin and hydrocodone use after a massive back surgery for almost 20 years, you've went through a huge transformation. So tell us about, I believe you have a new member of the family. I think this is month 7. I didn't do any research. Am I right?
Yep.
Is this 7 months?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're 100% on. She turned 7 months old on July 4th, actually. So, yeah, I've been blessed with our first daughter, Lila Marie. She was born December 4th after Mama went through 4 straight days of labor. So, bless her heart. Of course, she's got my whole heart. She's a trooper. What can I say? But on top of that, obviously, when you are presented with the prospect of a growing family, it makes longevity seem that much more important and readily apparent. So I took it upon myself to begin implementing some lifestyle changes. I've been blessed to I've lost about 100 pounds, actually, in the last about 15, 16 months. So it feels good. I'm not looking back. I'm not trying to find that weight anywhere. So I've lost it. It needs to stay gone. But obviously, I think one of the things that I think a lot of people have realized over these past several years is the concept of self-reliance should be at the forefront of everyone's minds. And being able to be strong, be healthy, and not rely on the big pharma or medical establishment can be the key towards establishing prosperous future for yourself and your loved ones. So, of course, that's been made much more readily apparent to me. And that's my little baby girl right there on the screen.
Gosh,
she is the light of my life.
She is adorable, man.
Oh, look at that.
Dude, she is a cutie, man. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Aren't they? I don't want another one, though. I'm good.
She got her good looks from her mama. What can I say? I don't know where that came from my side, but no, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. It's an honor. And I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to lead and train her up in the way that she should go, as the Bible says, so that when she's old, she will not depart from it.
Yeah, that's I got a coffee mug that my daughter gave me, and it basically says, hey, Dad, thank you for everything and raising me like a boy. It's so are teaching me how to be a man.
Even though I'm a girl.
Even though I'm a girl. So listen, man, 100 pounds. So you weren't
that's huge.
Yeah.
It's literally, figuratively. That's amazing. Like, congrats on that. Congrats on your baby girl. Like, I saw her in one of your videos a few months ago, and I was like, the hair just kills me. And those cheeks, she's like a doll baby. I love her. She's so cute. Congrats.
No, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. It's a blessing, and making health more of a decision that I took more seriously was something that didn't happen overnight, but it's something I'm definitely planning on doing long into the future, because I plan to be here for a long time. I got to be able to walk her down the aisle. And, that doesn't happen if I don't start taking care of myself a lot better. So I'm grateful that God instilled that intrinsic motivation in me, and I'm just going to continue to move forward.
You were a hoss, dude. I mean, you obviously lifted. I'm pretty sure you played football for A&M. Is that fair to say?
Yep. No, I was a walk-on linebacker for Texas A&M for the 2010 through 2011 years. And then I walked on again to an arena football team just north of Dallas, Texas, called the Texas Revolution. And I was there, did a spring training and all for them for, I believe it was 2015 and 2016. Then that ship sailed. And right around that time is actually when I began to lean more into the talents God's blessed me with as it relates to being able to speak publicly on the issues that matter. I'll never forget. I remember when Diamond and Silk were beginning their rise to fame. And I remember myself and my older brother, who some viewers out there might remember. And we've always considered ourselves to be somewhat wordsmiths. Growing up, we were all homeschooled, me and my 8 siblings. And my older brother actually had to beat me out to go to the National Spelling Bee, the 2002 National Spelling Bee in Washington, D.C.
Wow.
I never got to go back because we moved the year after that. We moved over to Greece and the opportunities weren't quite the same. But as we continue to grow and communicate back and forth and watch people like Diamond and Silk find their voices, we realized there might be a space for us to share our thoughts too on the issues that really do matter. It's one thing to just, type on a keyboard, but it's another thing to actually try to put some skin in the game. So over the past 6+ years now, invested quite a bit of money in, my little setup, and it's not quite as fancy as yours, Matt. I'll have you know, but we're getting there as fast as we can.
Whatever, man. No, come on. It's all. Listen, it's. People are like, they saw the old videos. I've seen your stuff grow over time too. It's just you just get better at what you're doing, and once you get some scar tissue, it becomes kind of just it comes a little bit automatic. Just to I want to upgrade this or I want to get this, and you set goals for yourself. And it's funny when you talk about homeschooling. Like when we had Trey on, the first thing we thought of was, wow, this guy's dumb. So I'm sure we're going to feel the same thing about you. We know you guys are super smart, super intelligent. That's never the question.
Awkward.
Yeah. Well,
oh yeah, 100%. We don't have any friends. Y'all 3 are the only friends that I have. So thank you for welcoming me into your circle. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, man. Listen, you come highly accomplished. 3 visits to the White House. Let me see if I remember. 2 visits to CPAC. You've been recognized on plenty of channels. Larry Elder follows you, which is always in my opinion, a good thing. What's the secret, man? Is it just that amazing marketing degrees that you and I have that is helping us, or is it something else? What is it?
I can't completely discount the marketing degree, but I will say is there has to be a certain measure of intrinsic motivation and resilience, particularly now in 2024, as we're all well aware. Those individuals on the left will do everything in their power to silence, stifle, and squelch any dissenting opinion. But I truly do believe that the wars, if you will, can be won just with the ability to expound on your beliefs. I actually consider it a point of pride for myself that I choose to view sites or view channels like CNN or MSNBC because I want to understand how the other side thinks. When you begin attacking from that standpoint, then you're able to formulate a rebuttal to something that is going to be coming already. But beyond that, I find that there's a lot of individuals, they talk to me, on sites like X or Facebook all the time. And they're like, oh, I'm just a small voice, but I shared your video. And what else can I do? And the answer really should be, everyone who has the ability to speak, no matter if you're the best speaker in the world or you may not be the best speaker in the world, but there have to be more voices willing to speak, period. If something were to ever happen to your platform, Matt, or my platform, I would hope that there would be 10 other individuals that I myself or you have inspired who would rise up in our stead to continue to have those conversations that we need to have. Because the fact of the matter is, the more individuals convince themselves or talk themselves out of becoming active in this space, the more ground we involuntarily and unintentionally cede to those who would seek to put an end to the First Amendment as we know it.
God, you know how nice it is not to have to do that and just say, good job. You know what? I agree with you. So that's the wait. Ladies and gentlemen, the Dodo and Friendly show has now been sold. I'm leaving. Damani is taking it over. He's going to fill the role. We forgot to tell you guys about this merger. I want to show you the video I cut my teeth on. And I think this was back in 2021 when I first was exposed to you. And I say exposed because I think there's some gravitas that is a sign of that. By the way, where were you in Greece?
We were about 4 hours north of Athens in a little town called Larissa. So we panhandled around there for a couple of years and then came on back to the States. But I mean, I'll tell you just a little fun fact. I've moved 22 times. I'm currently in Houston, Texas, and I'm not quite 33 years old yet. So my superpower is I can pack up my entire place in less than 48 hours. That's just part and parcel of being an Air Force brat.
I swear to God, it's a black mat. I'm so 29 countries, man, and I same thing. And my Yaya and Papu were from just shy of Athens. I'm gonna have to find out exactly what town they were from, but I've got a lot of Greek blood in. But it's amazing, dude. The more I actually was talking to a couple of friends of mine who watch your show quite a bit, and they were saying, God, you guys have a lot in common from how you present, except I have a fouler mouth, I've heard. But otherwise, it's really kind of weird so far to hear you talk. We'll see what else we can find in common. Here's the thing. This is the video that I saw of you that I must have watched this 16 times, because not only did I say it took extreme moxie to do this, it was the subtle touches that you put into your video, which means a lot to me, because quality is like, I watch some of these podcasts and I'm like, dude, you know what? You need to stop. You need to go fix your presentation, and then you'll have something to say. But if you look like you're, filming on a Commodore 64, you got to put a little skin into the game. You have a production value that I love. So here it is. I fluffed it up enough. If you have not seen this is absolutely gold. And this is so good. Watch this.
Wow. I can't believe it's already time for me to write you another letter. As a Biden voter, I want to wish you tidings of comfort and joy, while I wish misery and sadness on anyone who doesn't do exactly what I want them to, because that's what the holidays are all about. I hope you don't mind if this letter is a little longer than the last one I wrote you. I just feel like I've been extra compliant this year, so I deserve to have a longer wish list than usual. And besides, I was promised so much last year.
Dude, how do the blue Santa hat is alone 3 Band-Aids, not 1, not 2, 3 shots, the Purell, I mean, the freaking vaccination card, all of it. Now, you don't get to say anything yet because I want them to let this wash over them, but this is what I'm talking about, and let alone the freaking mask that's on. It's so good. It's so good.
Here I sit a year later, having gotten none of what I asked for. Last year, I told you all I wanted was student loan forgiveness, reparations, cheaper groceries and gas, and just to get back to normal. Maybe my letter got mixed up with all the mail-in ballots from the most free and fair election of all time. I know you're busy, and I'm not saying it's your fault. It's not mine either. Like all the other failures in my life, myself chief among them, I'll just blame it on the people I don't like instead. Okay, now I'm going to tell you what I want this year.
When I was reading some of the comments, some guys like, dude, it's all about blood. So I'm like, he's not a Crip, you dipshit. He's a Democrat. That's why he's not a blood, you freaking racist.
Can I get a gift card for a year's worth of manicures? I've broken so many nails furiously ripping I did that stickers off every gas pump I use these days. I don't understand why those conspiracy theorists think the president can influence the gas prices. He can't. Which is why when he tapped our own oil reserves and lowered gas prices by a few pennies, I made sure to give him credit for that immediately. Speaking of a few pennies, I took the 16 cents the Democrats saved me on my 4th of July cookout, and I'm going to donate them to the Salvation Army tomorrow. Ever since I heard about their Let's Talk About Racism guide, I just knew they'd use the money to help people regardless of their skin color. Told you I'm a good person. Now I know my next item is a lot to ask for, but the second thing on my list is a new car. I live in a blue city, and someone broke into mine and stole it in the freezing cold last night. I saw on my security camera that they had darker skin and red hats, so I'm guessing they were white supremacists. Probably Nigerian ones.
This is MAGA
Since I don't
country.
have a car now, I've had to ride the bus everywhere. And even though I wore my mask every day and rolled up my sleeves every time, I still got a breakthrough infection. I know, no big deal. It's just like the breakthrough infections everyone gets after their measles, mumps, and meningitis shots. It just means it's working. But even though it's working so well, the third thing I'd like to ask for this year is a lifetime supply of Band-Aids. I have a feeling I might need them for the future things I'll be ordered to take, and I'll take them without question because I care about my health. While we're talking about health, the fourth thing I want to ask for this year is a gift card to McDonald's. I hear they're going to start putting messages on their food packaging to encourage other people to roll up their sleeves. And I want to support businesses like McDonald's that care so much about my health. Okay, the last thing I want to ask for this year, Santa, isn't even for me. It's for the moderators and fact checkers of social media. They've been working so hard to silence the truth, to give their opinion, to fight fake news. Can you give them a raise? They deserve it. Anyway, I know this is a long letter and I'm almost done, I promise. But I wanted to ask you just one question. Who is Brandon? And why are all the people I hate cheering for him so much? If you could fill me in, I'd appreciate it. Okay, my hand is tired now. This is the most work I've done all year. Merry Christmas. I mean, happy holidays. I mean, happy whatever doesn't offend me today. Sincerely, Rhett Arted. Simzer. Governor.
God, it's so good that people don't even understand it. It says retarded. I mean, and that's the beauty of it. Retarded.
Cushion number 26,493,000.
It's so great when you can laugh at your own shit. I mean, I'm serious. That means it's good. People are like, why are you laughing at your own stuff? Because it's freaking funny and unique and it's creative, unlike you.
I haven't watched that video.
Yes.
It's really good.
Stop saying ho, ho, ho. It's very disrespectful to the vice president.
All right. So I'm going to turn it over. Yeah, go Amy, go, please.
I just really quickly, because I told my son, I was like, hey, I'm going on my show tonight. And he's like, what? Because I don't do Fridays anymore. And he goes, what, they need the short bus, Mom?
Jeez, I didn't. It's going to be a night. I can already tell it's going to be.
That's what I look forward to.
Dude, it's so like that. That's how I came across your stuff. So like, and then Leroy followed y'all and Trey, and I know he's kind of stepped out of the biz, but it was just so good having him on. So let me ask you the $100,000 question here. How much shit do you get? I know I get a lot, but how much do you get on a daily basis? And I'm talking from death threats to just, open hate or people calling you an Uncle Tom, because I know that has to happen all the time, because anyone who votes for Trump who's black is definitely, first of all, Uncle Tom, and second of all, they ain't black because Joe Biden says so. What are your thoughts?
Oh yeah, that happens so regularly. If I had a nickel for every time someone hurled a someone who claims to be from the party of love and tolerance, levied a racial slur epithet against me, then I would be able to retire many times over. But if that's the price that you have to pay to try to wake people up or meet them where they're at, that's a price that I'm more than willing to pay. Part of the reason I started making those videos, like the liberal Christmas wish list, actually this year should be the 4th annual video. I'm already thinking about what to include in the script for that year. But that was originally intended, that was a one-off video I did on TikTok, of all places, almost 4 years ago, back in 2020. And I remember thinking, how can I get through to people, cut through the noise, and at least help people learn to laugh at themselves again? Because if there's one thing that I would point to as far as the death of America, it's been that lack of your ability to have self-deprecating humor. So I chose to think about some of the crazy things that happened. I just wrote it out in that exact same format back in the 2020 video, and that video got 1 million views on TikTok. So I was thinking, I might have something here. So it's become a bit of a tradition now. TikTok previously, before my most recent turn in content style, wasn't a way for me to express my creative side, but also express my ability to write good scripts, because writing scripts takes a very long time, and I want to make sure they're bulletproof and airtight. And then beyond that, I wanted to figure out how can I reach particularly the next generation, because as much negative about TikTok, it's there. A lot of people are on it. And I firmly believe that if there is a platform that proliferates to the same degree that TikTok does, we have to have voices from our side active and willing to engage on those platforms as well, regardless of the vitriol and blowback. What's really funny, though, is I'm sure many of you, as you've fielded your own insults from the left, you've probably already realized very quickly that the average leftist probably has an insult list that's usually about 10 to 12 insults long, and that's it. So once you get accustomed to being called, oh, you're an Uncle Tom, or in my case, oh, you're an Oreo, you're a race traitor, white supremacist, racist, this, that, so on and so forth, F this, F you, you just naturally develop a thick skin to it because it doesn't mean anything. And honestly, what it honestly points to is a lack of cognitive ability and a lack of ability for individuals to express themselves any other way than how they've been programmed and controlled and instructed to think. So I actually take great pride when individuals start hurling those insults and epithets, because that means that I've already, on a subconscious level, won that argument, and all they can revert back to is that little tiny list of words that they've been programmed to use that honestly have no impact or bearing on me anymore.
I'm a 12th degree black belt in liberal kung fu, and
That's a great way to put it.
I got it probably in year 1 in 3 months. But Olivia will tell you, man, I used to take it to bed with me, and I used to let it get to me, and they would just dominate me with those 12 to 15 reoccurring Nazi, white supremacist, xenophobic, homophobic, transphobic, sexist, cock suppressor, whatever, cock oppressor, whatever it was. And I like I said, liberal kung fu, man. It's like now I do it, and I'm just like, and I'm just like, you guys are as interesting to me as a blocked toilet is to a plumber. I've been doing this way too long. It's just not. So there's something liberating, but then you come a little desensitized to it. So here's the biggest, the 800-pound gorilla in the room. Who is your inspiration? And then I want to get in and dive into it. But who is your inspiration when it comes to the moral authority? And I know Jesus Christ, and I know religion is a huge part of your life, but outside of that, on this mortal coil on terra firma, who is it that you really emulate and listen to try to really find your moral compass and how you want to present yourself every day on your show?
I would be remiss if I didn't say that I have to give credit to both my parents. They were both the first in their families to attend college, to receive a degree, and they instilled that love of learning and knowledge and being inquisitive from a very early age. As far as, in the political realm, I would say one of the individuals I look up to is Larry Elder. You mentioned him before. I've been honored to meet him personally. Being able to view someone who is able to so brilliantly and effortlessly expound their point of view and not get ruffled or flustered or taken for a ride by the gotcha questions that are posed to him many times, it allows you to realize that this is possible. But the only way that you are able to conduct yourself with aplomb on a stage as raucous as that of the political arena, you have to have a sort of peace and self-reassurance that can only come from your complete understanding of the subject matter, the facts, the data, and the issues. If you can do that, then you're able to present yourself well in any room. One of the things that my parents instilled in all of us kids growing up was the ability to speak on our feet, to speak extemporaneously, which is why they had us enrolled in Youth Toastmasters from a very young age. So even when I do go live and create these videos, the vast majority of the time, I don't have any prepared notes in front of me. I don't have a teleprompter. I'm just speaking directly from the heart based on the information I've already gleaned, retained, and memorized. Because when it's all the way up there in your gray matter, no one can take it from you, no one can challenge you, and you can confidently challenge them back. Do you think I'm lying? Go look this up for yourself, and you will see that I am right yet again. That's the kind of confident gravitas that I believe more individuals will hopefully be able to have as we engage in these conversations, as we hurtle closer and closer to Election Day and the days, weeks, years, and months beyond.
4th of July weekend. Listen, folks, this video is not going to live in infamy in the moment. This is going to, I promise you, as soon as people get back, this whole thing will blow up. Everyone's like, we got to get the numbers up. Numbers are already up. We're already at 5,000 on Wimkin. So we're going to notice on Facebook, it's 4th of July weekend. It's going to be hard. It doesn't matter. The point is, we get to replay this as many times as we want. Livia, Amy, I know you guys had a couple questions for Damani, and then we get into the heart of it, which we get to wax intellect on the panel and talk a little bit about what's going on, including something that just dropped. And I got a cut that was sent to me by a friend in regards to George Stephanopoulos and Biden interview that just took place. We get to watch this soup sandwich. So, Amy, did you have something you wanted to ask Damani?
Yeah, this is more about your family life. But since you're homeschooled and you're one of 8 kids, which I think is amazing, I think your parents are wonderful for adopting. You have 2 adopted siblings, correct?
That's right.
I love that. I just love that. But are you going to homeschool your daughter when she is of age? Or is she going to?
That's definitely the plan. That's definitely the plan, is to explore those avenues, be it direct homeschooling or co-op homeschooling. I do firmly believe that wresting control of education away from the government can be the key to saving future generations, because they are so hopelessly indoctrinated at such a young age. I do believe that many parents already have done this, but many more parents, I do believe, need to consider that as an avenue, because it's not nearly as taboo or fringe as it used to be. There's a lot of individuals out there who realize, particularly by virtue of the unspecified virus of unknown origin, as I like to put it, that there are controls put in place wherein the government begins to see your children as their own, because to be honest, your children spend more time around government employees in a government system than they do their own parents and their own families. And when that happens, then the government sees them as a field ripe for planting those seeds of division, Marxism, communism, or what have you, that we unfortunately all too often see take root and blossom later on in life, where you see those tragic pictures of the before and afters of a high school senior who may have enjoyed a good, real education and then went off to college. And college, I believe, they view as a final frontier, and they bombard so many young individuals with their propaganda that if you are not well heeled, then you will return back from college looking completely different than, thinking differently than you ever were raised to think. And I truly believe that's a travesty, but it really does start in the home. And the more individuals are able to explore those options and opportunities to fully instill the correct values in their children, I do believe that we will be seeing a seismic shift as it relates to the next generation and what their ideology and moral compass will be.
DamaniFelder.com. If you can't get enough, you want to get more, that is where you go. And obviously, you can find all of Damani's works. We had a question from a viewer, and a whole bunch of comments are coming in now, and people are starting to wake up from July 4th slumber. Liv, you had a question from, let's see, Mel?
Yes, from Mel. How did your parents escape the DEM programming in college?
How did they escape? Well, my parents, they both graduated back in 1983. So I would argue that the level of programming and indoctrination was not quite what it has become today. But I truly believe that they realized education was their opportunity to better their station in life. I never forget my dad's mother actually was a sharecropper at a point in her life. So he realized the value of having a positive education. And I'll tell you this, he still tells me stories to this day of how in Bryan, College Station, Texas, where he grew up, and he would be one of the only children in his class who would wear a full suit to class in high school and carry himself differently than what society would typically expect from someone of his general comportment or station. And of course, he was roundly mocked and ridiculed by individuals for choosing to carry himself as if he was cut of a different cloth. But he wound up becoming one of the more successful members of his own family as a result of his efforts. On my mother's side, she was, again, the first in her family to go to college. She remembers her family having to pack up and flee from Chicago, where they were living at the time, because of some riots that broke out there. I believe it was in the aftermath of the MLK assassination, something to that effect. And she remembers the fear and terror. They wound up settling in Michigan. And she, again, prioritized education over the trappings that typically will distract young individuals. And she went on to go to the University of Michigan. She's a Michigan Wolverine. She graduated with a degree in mathematics. She also is trilingual, and she demanded that before any of the kids graduated high school, that we would be able to speak at least 3 languages. Some of my siblings are overachievers, so some speak up to 5. At one point, I had 4 under my belt. I only have English, Spanish, and Greek. I'm still brushing the dust off of my Greek, but some siblings have taught themselves Russian. Some siblings have taught themselves German as well. So just that spirit was cultivated by my parents. And their emphasis on education, you know, around the dinner table, having words of the day, encouraging us to learn how to spell everything, read everything. We didn't grow up around a bunch of screens in the house, but I'll be the first to tell you we could read through a 300, 400-page book in a single day. And that's where our lexicon was developed. That's where our vocabulary was honed. So now, you know, sometimes individuals on places like social media, if I'm on X, I'll intentionally use a word that I know. And it might sound not quite like what you would think that word should mean, but I'm using it correctly. And I'm hoping and seeing maybe I can use this as a teaching moment to educate someone who might say, oh, you called me the N-word. No, I called you a niggard, Niggard, which means a selfish or miserly or stingy person. Like, let's learn this information now, and let's reclaim what it means to be a well-educated people, so that we don't devolve into this chaos where everything is abbreviated. No one understands even how to write in cursive anymore. And I would argue that the minute we stop taking education as seriously as we should have in this country and indoctrinating children instead of teaching them, that's what's led to a lot of the problems that we're seeing in our society today. So that's a long-winded answer, but that's an answer.
It's a great freaking answer. It's a good one, because here's I'm gonna expand on it quickly. Tolkien said it best is that when he was describing the Orcish language, there was a gap in between the higher end scholars from the collected areas in the world who could not communicate with orcs because their language had degraded down to like 300 different words. And it just simply wasn't adequate enough to convey a message. Now, we all know this is fantasy and whatever, but that doesn't matter. The reason is that the average vocabulary of a 16-year-old was 3,200 words less than 200 years ago. And now we've dwindled down to under 700 words per average citizen. So we're just right above the orcs in as far as having a guttural language that is just inadequate to convey simple thoughts. And this is the problem. And when people tell me you're a wordsmith or you're talking above, I'm saying, good, get a dictionary, get a thesaurus, and we can have a conversation, because I'm not going to dumb myself down because you're struggling. The struggle is part of the price of admission. It's something, if you want to have a higher end conversation and you want to wax intellect and you want to, exchange ideas, the only way we can do that is by able to convey our thoughts in a non-monosyllabic way, and I love it. Here's the thing: I just
it makes life, not to cut you off. It makes life more fun too. Let's just be honest. Like, anyone can say, "Oh, you're an effing this" or "You're an effing that." And,
right?
I'm more the mindset. I would rather call a parsimonious ne'er-do-well or something to that effect, and really make them think, like kind of stun them a little bit, because it's just fun. The English language is rife with words that have such colorful, rich meaning that I feel that we do the public a disservice, and we decide that we're going to dumb ourselves down or use inferior language in order to communicate when there's so much else out there to explore and to utilize. So I just wanted to do that little aside.
No, it's good. First time I called someone a jackanape, I thought they were going to have a stroke. How do you have a black man on your shoe, Matt? Careful. First of all, I'm not wearing my Doc Martens. Number one. Number two, I've got sandals. So, but let's go ahead and assume that was show. Penny, how do you have a black man on your show? You really are bad at being a racist Nazi. Well, he's not a Jew.
Right.
All right, so moving on.
And I'm not black either, according to Joe Biden. Joe Biden said I ain't black. So what you see here is an optical illusion, all right?
Yeah, if he was Jewish, he wouldn't be on. So, folks, you guys know my history. I've got, surprisingly enough, I have more African-American blood than Elizabeth Warren has Native American, and that's a fact. and I've got German and Jew blood. So my grandma Schwartz fled Nazi Germany, and my uncle, Albert Speer, hunted her down. So I've got a little, and I've got some lineage that I'm not proud of, but I'll tell you what, it makes for wonderful coffee table discussions for sure. Here's we're going to dive right into this. I want to watch the Stephanopoulos video. I want to thank Thomas for his donation. We did see it. I just didn't want to interrupt Damani because I can interrupt everyone else but him. Here's the video. You're going to enjoy this. And by the way, if you want to follow suit, linktapgo.com/thedumb show. We're 100% funded by the viewer. Facebook cut 90% of our revenue. We were doing fine. We didn't ask for a donation for 3.5 years. We don't necessarily believe in it, but we're now at a point where if you want to have this wonderful entertainment, this is how you do it. linktapgo.com/thedumb show. Take care of your friends, family first. Take care of your vacation. Take care of your mortgage. If you have something extra, we would love for you to share it with us. If not, it's okay. Just give us a like and a follow and make sure this gets out because it's great conversation. Here is Stephanopoulos, who is a Clinton shill, who was responsible for getting Bill Clinton elected, a huge part of getting Bill Clinton elected. And let's see how he does against Biden. I'm feeling a couple softballs are on the way. Here it is.
You and your team have said you had a bad night, but your friend Nancy Pelosi actually framed the question that I think is on the minds of millions of Americans. Was this a bad episode or the sign of a more serious condition?
It was a bad episode. No indication of any serious condition. I was exhausted. I didn't listen to my instincts in terms of preparing, and I had a bad night.
You say you were exhausted, and I know you've said that before as well, but you came, and you did have a tough month, but you came home from Europe about 11 or 12 days before the debate, spent 6 days in Camp David. Why wasn't that enough rest time, enough recovery time?
Because I was sick. I was feeling terrible. Matter of fact, the docs with me, I asked if they did a COVID test because they were trying to figure out what was wrong. They did a test to see whether or not I had some infection, a virus. I didn't. They just had a really bad cold.
And did you ever watch the debate afterwards?
I don't think I did, no.
Well, what I want to get at is what were you experiencing?
We sure did. We've been watching it nonstop, man. It's like porn for the soul. I mean, it's good stuff.
Did you know how badly it was going?
Yeah, look. The whole way I prepared, nobody's fault, mine. Nobody's fault but mine.
Well, that's a move. They blame the administrative staff. Now it's his fault. Okay, accountability.
I prepared what I usually would do, sitting down, as I did come back with foreign leaders or the National Security Council, for explicit details. And I realized about partway through that, I get quoted, the New York Times had me down at 10 points before the debate, 9 now, or whatever the hell it is. The fact of the matter is that what I looked at is that he also lied 28 times. The way the debate ran, not my fault, no one else's fault. No one else's fault.
But it seemed like you were having trouble from the first question in, even before he spoke.
Well, I just had a bad night.
Okay. Olivia, I know. Listen, I'm all about, letting the guests go first, but we got to let the ladies go. Olivia, Amy, then Damani, and I'll wrap it up last. Liv, your initial thoughts on Stephanopoulos and what you just saw.
It's hilarious. I didn't think it was his fault, apparently, but apparently it is now. I mean, my whole thing was, how long does it take you to get over jet lag? I've had jet lag before. I took a 3-hour nap and I was fine when I woke up. Now, I guess I was like 150 years younger than him, so I guess that's okay. So I had a little bit more youth on my side, but it shouldn't take him that long. And they're using the excuse of, I have a cold. And it is an excuse. It's not true in any way, shape, or form, because I have had colds before. And I've been to work, and I've been fine. I've been miserable, but no one at work knew I had a cold.
Thank you, Violet.
Thanks, Violet. Appreciate it. So I don't know. Just, it's funny. It's sad at the same time, but it's funny.
Amy?
I feel so bad for Joe Biden right now. I really do. I just he's getting the tan, whether it's fake or not. Let him go back to the beach. Let him live there. Let the man retire. He's 180 years old, correct? I don't know. He's 81 we decided. He's so old. I genuinely do feel bad for him. I can't imagine being at a disadvantage mentally and physically in the state that he's in and trying to run the free world, which he is doing a piss poor job at. But he's finally, I think, getting clued into how bad he sounds. Maybe, I don't know. I genuinely feel bad for him. Let the man retire. It's sad to watch. It's just sad to watch. I feel bad.
Okay.
He also doesn't remember if he watched the debate or not afterwards. So
that's fair. Well, he went to the Waffle House, is my understanding. Damani, go get him. What do you got?
Yeah, you actually clued me in there perfectly, because I was going to say, okay, so let's assume that this excuse that he has a cold is actually the truth, which we all know it is not. Why would anyone in their right mind then take this older, geriatric, arguably senile man who has a cold, who could be contagious, especially after these past several years, everybody's out there running around wearing a mask and afraid of breathing God's good air? Why would they parade him out to Waffle House, have him touch a bunch of people? That doesn't make sense. And the thing is, because all those different layers of media propaganda and I would argue gatekeeping were stripped away for a very brief moment in time during that first presidential debate. A lot of individuals who may have believed the lies that the mainstream media said and may have believed the edited clips that showed Joe Biden looking like he was full of vim and vigor, they were actually forced to sit there and have the most stark, the most direct comparison and contrast you could possibly have for over 90 minutes. And I do find it interesting that the media is beginning to ask these questions all almost in unison at the drop of a hat, because I do truly believe that they knew that that was what was going to happen. They realized just how bad things have gotten under Joe Biden, I think anyone with a brain out there knows that Joe Biden is not the one who is calling the shots predominantly in this country anymore. You can point your finger at individuals like Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton or George Soros, the Rothschilds or whatnot. You can go down a rabbit hole with that. But what I will tell you is it's very apparent that Joe is not the one running the show. And it's very revealing that media entities, like ABC, like George Stephanopoulos, they are finally holding Biden's feet to the fire. But the question that we should ask ourselves is, why are they doing this now? Is it because they knew this would happen and they have another ace in the hole somewhere else? Because Biden speaks for himself at this point. The best thing that Biden can do for Team MAGA is to just keep saying what he's saying. I'm staying in, I'm not dropping it, I'm not dropping it, I'm dropping it. Great. Okay, yeah, thank you, Joe. I will clap for that. Because I don't want anyone else coming in and taking your stead and potentially throwing another wrench into the plans, because at this point, Joe himself is self-defeating. So it's a gift that we have right now, a gift that hopefully we will be able to retain for these last barely 120 days until the election. But we know that the lights aren't all on. I like to use the expression that Joe is a few tacos short of a combination platter. I will continue to say that because I think it's really funny and very accurate at the same time. But this latest interview,
Racist.
We're going to have more of them.
It's a little xenophobic, but that's okay. it's totally
I was
cool.
born in San Antonio. I claim a little bit of Hispanic heritage myself.
I'm with you.
So yeah, it's not surprising seeing the man for who we always said he was. But I think it's actually somewhat rewarding to see individuals who had deluded themselves successfully for the last 3.5 years that everything was okay, finally have to contend with the fact that what I just saw on TV is literally indefensible. And I think that created a little bit of an awakening moment for a large swath of the American population.
Yeah, I'll do a redneck thing since you did the Hispanic thing. A couple cans short of a six-pack. Here's the thing. Words matter. And he started off with that this was an episode. Well, I want to make sure people understand when we talk about an episodic experience, or we talk about a trilogy, or we talk about chapters, it's one that makes up the whole. And an episode is one singular that stands out against the normal. So what he's saying is that there has been a series of episodes. This is just the one that's the worst. So it's an open admission that he has a problem, that there is a serious issue here. I don't feel sorry for Joe Biden. I've told people many times, I would love to sit down and have a beer with Joe Biden, but I'd love to sit down and have a beer with Oprah. And I don't want to really talk to her at all. But I love conversation, and I'm willing to talk to anybody because I am interested in the human element. But as far as liking him, 13 people killed. He abandoned Americans. He called us deplorables. He eulogized Klan members. But pardon my French, fuck Joe Biden. I don't have any feeling for him that comes from a place of empathy, which is something we should give people, to sympathy, which should be reserved for absolutely the most tragic experiences. He wanted to be president so bad. He got passed over by Obama. For Clinton. He was pissed off at that. He's never going to give up power. It's not just his family. Joe Biden behind the scenes is, in my understanding, is a cantankerous jerk to every single person he interacts with. I just don't feel sorry for the guy. And like Damani said, stay in the race. Please stay. Don't go anywhere. And I've said he's never going to let go. He is their guy now. The primaries are over, folks. Those electorates are voting for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And if they want to try to swap him out, it is way too late. I told you they should have done this 16 to 12 months ago. They didn't do it, and now they've got him. So here's the question. And this goes to Damani, then we'll go back to Olivia and then Amy. Why are Republicans and Democrats both pretending that there is some sort of magic interview or magic debate or magic moment that's going to restore Joe Biden? Who cares? Even if he has a great debate, can we look at inflation? Can we look at the world stage? Can we look at exports? Can we look at energy? There's nothing to redeem him. How can we, even Republicans are sitting here waiting with bated breath for him to have a good performance, like somehow that matters. So Damani, I ask you, why is it that Republicans are so afraid to simply say, I don't care what he does? Why can't Donald Trump stand up and say, I will not debate him again? This was an absolute shit show. We're not going to do it again because in the end, his record is horrendous. Why aren't we taking that stand?
It could be due to a little bit of internalized traditionalism from individuals who may have been members of the GOP for a long time. This is the dog and pony show that they've experienced their entire lives. They want to see this happen again. Oh, we want there to be a fair debate so we can hear both sides talk about the issues that matter. And I would argue that especially now, we live in an incredible information age. You don't need to have someone on TV tell you how life is anymore. You don't have to have someone who, oh, they have access to special data. We all have access to it. So I would argue that largely debating is performative. Debating has become entertainment more than it has become informative. And because that has become the status quo, there are people who may be part of the establishment who just want to see the same old thing continue yet again. But we live in a day and age now where we have to remember that Trump was able to ascend to become the presumptive and will be the Republican nominee without attending a single debate. You know why? Because the debates, everyone already knew what the issues were. They knew what happened even to Trump in 2020. They didn't care about all of the extra fluff that you typically have to go through in an election cycle. They knew who their man was. They dug in their heels. They saw their world deteriorating around them. And they said, we don't need to, go through the same motions again. We know what we want. We know what we need. This is it. Let's go. And I would argue as we move into the future, we're probably going to see that sentiment continue. I would argue there will still be a place and a space for debate. Will it be the traditional debate experiences that we are used to seeing? Probably not. And that may be a good thing. Maybe we only just have one or two people on the stage, or two or three people on the stage max. Because we all remember how the debates devolved into utter chaos back in 2019 and 2015, 2016. Oh, shouting over each other, trying to get everybody's own soundbite. And everyone knows, any candidate, for the most part, knows that their chances are almost infinitesimal. By the time the debates actually happen, you have maybe one or two people who are clearly the front runners in this race. Anybody else is just there so they can squirrel away some donations so that next thing you know, they're flying around multi-million dollars after writing a book about their experience that they had. It's become a game. And I think that the beautiful thing about this point in American history is that now we're seeing people saying, we don't need to have all of this extra noise. We need someone who tells it like it is, who stands up and speaks up when he needs to. And we don't need all this other extra garbage that's really just there to entertain the masses. And I would argue keep us asleep or at each other's throats in many cases.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not bad. JD says, has Matt mentioned Harry Sisson on X stating that Biden needs to step aside now? No, because I don't even need to look. There's no way in the 9 rings of hell that took place. That guy is paid. And he is shilled by the DNC. I will bet my entire show right now. I will hand over my show to you, JD. All proceeds, all profits, all titles of incorporation will be signed over to you if you can show me something that's not a deep fake. There's no way he said that. I would almost put my life on it. Like I
know what he's talking about.
Go ahead, tell me.
I know what he's talking about. I saw a screenshot start making the rounds on X, and yeah, it is a deep fake. It's not true. Of course, that would be cause for celebration if it was true. But awesome. Harry says, and I actually made a video about this recently on my Instagram. I posted a few other places where Harry says, and it's no secret that he's paid from the DNC via his management group, which is called Palette Management. He is continuing to crank out the most cringeworthy Biden content on a almost hourly basis, it feels like. So he's not going anywhere. Honestly, most people who are being paid by Joe Biden or the DNC are the only ones left who have anything positive to say. So I wouldn't expect any of them to magically see the light, because the checks keep clearing and they continue spewing their garbage as long as those checks continue to clear.
Yeah, Brooklyn dad. I mean, just to see, I would love for you guys to have a debate on how to raise a child. Amy, Olivia, anything you guys want to talk about when it comes to the video you just saw of Joe Biden? Anything else we want to do before we move on to another topic?
I think how you said that, why are Republicans so worried about or wanting to see another debate? I think they're worried that maybe he will have a good debate, and then the left is going to be, oh, see, it was just one thing. He had a cold, and they're going to be able to shove it back in our face that, look, he is our guy, and he's great, and he's awesome, and blah, 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 and he's not too old. And so.
Yeah. The magic pill method. Go ahead, Amy.
And did you guys all see the left was spinning it saying, well, every president in the last, I don't remember how many years, has had a bad first debate. So this is on par. This is on par for him being the next president again. Yeah, I mean, they're going to spin it how they're going to spin it. I don't think we need to have another debate. I mean, with social media and our access to everyone nowadays, I don't think it needs to be done, but I'm all for it as well. I liked the rules. I liked the mic cutoff. I thought it was wonderful, especially when Biden couldn't hold it in when Trump was talking, when his mic was cut off, and he didn't have to answer him, but he decided to throw that in, which was glorious. So, I mean, look, I don't love Joe Biden. I think people kind of thought that I was defending him. I don't like him. I never have.
No, you're a kind person. Come on.
I am a kind person. I mean, think about it as like a child whose dream was to play in the NFL. They worked all these years and they finally made it. And they're a terrible player and they suck and they're dragging down their whole team. But the, manager or whatever, I don't know, football, whoever is the boss is oh, we'll keep him on because he's a good sport. And he wanted it so bad. That's where we are. We're dragging this dead weight along. And yes, he wanted this. He's achieved it. He needs to retire. But not yet. Keep running.
He's the Jerry Jones of the NFL. I think is what you're looking for. Listen, I just don't feel bad. The guy called me a MAGA extremist, and I wasn't. I've been hard on Trump, and I'm hard on Trump for a reason, because he makes mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. If you're one of those people, there's two types of TDS. There's TDS that you can't stand Trump and you're freaking nuts. And then there's people who love him so much that think he's the second coming of Christ. Both people are completely batshit crazy. And I'm not one of them. But if you look at mistakes versus intentional and purposeful, there's two different things. I don't think Donald Trump hates America. I don't think Donald Trump makes mistakes because he hates America. I think Donald Trump, he says it best. I try things, I put them out there. If they don't work, we change it, we get it right. Joe Biden is, tell me what to do because I have no idea. He hasn't had an original idea. Everything he does is from the Saul Alinsky playbook. Everything he does is built off the Green New Deal. He doesn't have anything progressive because progressivism is recidivism. It's not a forward-thinking process, because socialism is not about growth. It's about confining the populace to a limited amount with high-yield production for absolutely nothing. Everyone gets equal portions of something, or everyone gets equal portions of nothing. And every socialist experiment that's been tried around the world, it's always equal portions of nothing. So I just, for anyone to say that he's a communist or a socialist, he doesn't have to be a full-blown Maoist to have communist leanings. And he never used to be this way. Joe Biden was a moderate, and something has changed. And that's because the party has changed. We can have that conversation forever. Carrie says, who does Damani think would be the best VP pick? Oh, I'm really interested to hear this one. This is a good question. So I'm going to sit here and listen to this one.
That's a great question. I believe it's Carrie. Thank you for that. I thought about that a lot myself. The way I approach the vice presidential candidate job is more or less who would be the best to hold even Kamala's feet to the fire in a one-on-one debate. I believe that would be an indicator of how good someone would be. And some people might say you need two firebrands, or you need two brash individuals as president and vice president. I would argue traditionally there's been a little bit of a yin and yang type setup there, where one individual kind of tampers down the other. Of course, Mike Pence is the most extreme, terrible example of that, but I digress. So to answer your question, I would say I would love to see him pick someone like particularly Byron Donalds, I believe would be a good choice. Ben Carson, you can make a case for, but Ben Carson might be viewed as a little too passive in a field that might need just a touch more fire. And I know there's lots of people out there who are wondering, yes, Vivek Ramaswamy says a lot of great things. He speaks with great conviction, great vigor. I would argue that you could make a case for Vivek Ramaswamy, but I would most like to see Vivek Ramaswamy spend more time proving himself in the political arena first. And the reason I say that so intentionally is because over the past several years, we have gotten so accustomed to rallying immediately behind someone who says what we want to hear, and then they let us down when it's time for them to actually stand up and do what they said they were going to do. And I'm not saying that Vivek would potentially do that or not. Who's to know? Only way we can figure out is you need to see what his voting record would look like if he served in some other capacity. And I think that that's the approach more individuals need to have. Just because someone says all the right things and everything that you like to hear does not mean that they fully believe it. And some good examples of that, we've seen come to fore in the political arena, even most recently. I remember most vividly, there was an individual by the name of Alex Stovall, I believe was his name. He was running for, I believe he was running for this Congress in Arizona. And then leaked audio came out where he was disparaging his own prospective constituents, saying, oh, they'll just vote for me because I'm a black person. And, in a way, it was kind of sad that he was acknowledging or at least whispering about something that some people could say, unfortunately, does happen sometimes. Just because for example, just because people out there watching me, they hear me say things that you like, don't make that be the only reason that you choose to support me, or don't give me that support without me having to earn it first. Because I would argue we have become so browbeaten on the right side of the aisle for so long. Sometimes it is very enticing to look for those quick, easy, simple victories. Oh, this person says everything that I love. He's throwing red meat out to the base. I love it. I love it. I love it. Going to support him, without doing that next level of due diligence. Because part of the reason why some things didn't get done in Trump's first term was unfortunately because he had some advisors even who were saying, oh, maybe you should have Omarosa in this capacity, or maybe you should have Anthony Scaramucci in this capacity, without peeling back those layers of the onion far enough to understand who is going to be a snake in the grass, who's going to stab you in the back the minute it benefits them, who's going to try to get some information and write a book later on if they can make millions of dollars. Those are the kinds of people on the right side of the aisle who do almost irreparable harm to our side. And we need to almost rescind the ability for them to ascend so quickly to gain those metaphorical keys to the kingdom before having to actually put their money where their mouth is and do the hard, less glamorous work that would come in a different sort of servant role before they are given that level of power or that level of acclaim, lest we begin to see the same things happen to us in the past, most recently, that we have seen, and so we can set ourselves up for a better future for the country.
Tulsi Gabbard. What? I didn't hear anything. So, shit. I love when people are like, Tulsi Gabbard for BP. I'm like, let me get this straight. I want to make sure I understand. The most progressive, hands down, even more than Kamala, Klobuchar, Elizabeth Warren, legislator in the last 20 years is Tulsi Gabbard. She's had a change of heart, but then I don't trust her even more, because anybody who abandons all of their ideology on the snap of a finger, I have a problem with that. Second, she has everything that is about conservatism is opposite of what she is. But then you take Nikki Haley, who is a governor and who was an ambassador. Now, whether you like her or love her, she's a neocon. Absolutely. She's old school neocon. We understand that. But her record for what she did was like 93% conservative on everything she voted. But she is a rhino. But Tulsi Gabbard is the future. Folks, the same thing with Vivek Ramaswamy. He was a pharmaceutical fucking CEO. Pardon my French. CEO. I don't care. Right there, this guy better walk on water, and water better be turning into a Merlot. And if it's not, I want what Damani said. I want to see him run for a lower office, much lower. Okay? Much lower, state and local government. And I want to see him actually earn the constituents' vote. But to put somebody like that, we learned that with Obama. He's flashy. He's got all the words. He says all the right things. And that's what scares me about him. So you and I agree completely about that. And whether, like I said, you like Nikki Haley or not, it doesn't matter. She's still rocking 19 to 23% of the vote after all those primaries. It's a huge chunk of America. You got to figure it out. Everyone says it's all Democrats. No, it's not. That's bullshit. That is just a quick surface level onion look. You got to get the middle. You got to get the 7%. So it better be Byron Donalds. It better be somebody like Ben Carson. It better be someone who is going to bring in the middle, who isn't Carrie Lake, who isn't Kristi Noem, isn't a Trump MAGA person. Hayden or Olivia and Amy, your thoughts on this vice president? Have you changed it? Do you have new people you like? What is your wish? What do you want to see? Do you care?
Well, I care, because I think a lot of people are going to vote based on the vice president this year than president, because both candidates are old. And I think a lot of people are thinking that whoever gets in may not make it to the end of their term based on age. So on average, men live early 80s, 82, 83.
That's because of women.
Exactly. Well, so I'm not arguing with that.
Go ahead.
But so I think the VP is big, but Trump also needs to pick someone that's going to get him the votes that he needs. And like I've been saying the whole time, the biggest demographic he lost was women, the suburban moms. And in my opinion, being a suburban mom, the person who's going to get those votes back for him is Nikki Haley. That's just my opinion. God. I can relate to her more than I can relate to anyone else. And Vivek, freaking baklava shawarma, he needs to just go somewhere else.
Wow.
I don't like him at all.
Breaking out dessert and a main course and just mixing it together.
I don't like him at all.
Listen, we're not Nikki Haley proponents. I think people have seen that the vice president is only important running up to the general election, and Mike Pence, whether it's Nixon, whether it's Joe Biden, each vice president provides something right before the general election. The question is, how many votes can it provide? Mike Pence gave him the Christian conservatives after he said grab him by the pussy. It was killing him. Mike Pence brought him something that he was going to lose. So J.D. Vance is also a very appealing candidate. There's a lot of them. Amy, your thoughts? And then Damani, I have a feeling you want to chime in on one little thing about that. So go ahead, Amy, and then Damani.
I think we just bring back Mike Pence. I'm totally kidding.
That's going to work.
Totally kidding. Thank you. I mean, I think it is an important decision. I think it's a coin toss, and I think Nikki Haley does make sense for a lot of women voters. I think she brings a lot of the topics that are important to women, and she has maybe an easier way of digesting things, because I don't love all of her policies. I don't agree with a lot of what she says personally, but I think she can appeal to more of the masses than Donald Trump can. And I don't know if she would be like, that's who I want. I would not vote based on her, but I'm going to vote for Trump again because the alternative is dismal.
Right.
I mean, it'll be my
Matt
third time
Spear,
voting
Damani for VP. What about Olivia and Amy for VP? Damani, go ahead, man. I know you probably listen. You're probably like, wow, I really liked you guys until now. What are your thoughts, man? Seriously.
No, it's all about the exchange of ideas and information. One point of departure I will make is the relatability coefficient, if you will, typically comes to the fore around this point in time in the political process. I would argue that relatability doesn't seem to be what the average modern 2024 voter may fully and truly be prioritizing at the forefront. And the reason I say that is because no matter what you say, I don't care if you are a Nikki Haley or you're a Carrie Lake or you're a Kristi Noem, whatever an individual on that side of the aisle is going to say, even if it's the best thing that female voters have ever heard, because they are attached to the Trump ticket, they're going to be roundly panned by the mainstream media just like anyone else is. And individuals who don't like Trump aren't going to care, I would argue, as much about who the vice president is going to be, because they realize that Trump, he sucks all the oxygen out of the room anyway. Yeah. So the relatability question, I get it, but it would be, the way I view it personally is, it would be tantamount to me saying, oh, well, the person that Trump chooses as vice president, he needs to be a black person so that we can get more black people to vote for the Trump ticket. And it's an unfortunate reality that the black demographic as a voting bloc has largely been lost. We saw that in the 2020 election. I believe black women broke for Biden at a 92 to 8% clip. And black men, I believe, are still in the high 80 percentile for Joe Biden. All that to say that if even if Trump had an individual who was an African American running, then that my demographic, unfortunately, has become so accustomed to automatically labeling anyone who is on the right side of the aisle, oh, you're an Uncle Tom, you're a coon, don't vote for them, that even if he'd chosen to pick someone else who was an African American person or someone who could better relate to the Black community, the Black community still wouldn't get out of their own way long enough to actually consider that ticket. So I guess my point of contention would be that while, yes, suburban women is a group that needs to be reined back in from the left, I wonder if simply choosing a woman or someone like Nikki Haley, or even, Carrie Lake or Kristi Noem, I wonder if that would be the right move to make, because those individuals are unfortunately already written off by the large faction of suburban women in this country who were planning on casting a ballot anyway. And it might be very difficult for them to make inroads in these last 4 months to try to reach some of those people who I want to argue are already largely gone or have made up their minds. That's just my take, though.
Yeah, it's a good. I like that.
It's a great point.
I think that's a really good point. Yeah. They should be making top pies anyway, right? I mean,
well, that's what I was going to say. How do they have the time to do that when they're supposed to be in the kitchen? Livia, go ahead.
What I'm confused at is why Trump lost so much of the women vote anyway, because according to the left, women only voted for Trump anyway because their husbands told them to. So how did he lose that many votes? Just, a thought.
Isn't it always nice to, I just love it. The sound bites, they just they say a different story than what we're hearing. The only just quick touch on this, then we'll move on, is when I think of that, it comes down to this. Demographic chasing is the worst thing to do in politics. It doesn't work. And you can try to do it, but ultimately it might deliver 1 or 2 states. And we saw this with Joe Biden, who was losing to Pete Buttigieg and Bernie Sanders. They were spreading 39 points between the two of them. Joe Biden was sucking hind tit. He lost the 2020 primary to those two, up to 6 states, and then they went into South Carolina. You put Kamala Harris in the picture, the black vote showed up, even though he was making comments that were coming back of, if you don't vote for me, vote for Trump, you ain't black. The hairy legs comment came up. The, Obama is the only, bright, intellectually smart and clean man ever to run for president, whatever it is. So those things didn't matter, is Kamala Harris brought him a state. But when you talk about California, her overall poll was nothing. When you look at a demographic, the only one that matters is men and women. I don't care if they're college educated. I don't care if they're suburban. I don't care if they're inner city. And the only thing that we need to understand is between 2016 and 2020, Donald Trump didn't expand the male or female vote. He got more votes in 2020, but overall that 3% and 4%, 3% of men and 4% of women went and expanded into Biden's column. If he has any chance of winning, he has to get women to come back to the fold. So we have to take the abortion conversation off the table. That is the only thing. That's all they got. You take that away, you're going to have a different overall reaction from suburban women. Because what else are you going to do? Trump's a bad guy. Trump's a Nazi. He's a rapist. Nobody cares about that shit. That stuff doesn't poll well. What really polls is the top 5 or 6 topics about this election. And one of them is going to be abortion. It was on the ticket in 2018. It was on the ticket in 2020, 2022 primaries. It's going to be midterms. It's going to be on 2024. Speaking of disillusioned, the 2028 frontrunner who pretty much has it locked up for the Democrats is Gavin Newsom.
3.5 years.
I don't think that changes. I think Gavin Newsom is somebody who they love, and his name right now is at the forefront. But I want you to listen to what he has to say. And he's going to go to bat for Biden's character. This is the guy that was following Biden around like a lost puppy because the left wanted him shadowing in case Biden did drop out and he could pick up the run. It's too late now. But here is Gavin Newsom. A little worse for wear. Listen to this.
They don't pay you. They don't even reimburse you. I've been going wherever I've been asked, whatever task, large and small, because I believe in this man. I believe in his character. I believe that he has been one of the most transformative presidents in our collective lifetime. I really believe.
Not wrong. Oh, yeah.
Is there a gun? They have they're all holding they're holding machine guns, Nazi machine guns there, and it's like there's signs that say applause. Give me a break, transformative.
Decency. with Joe Biden.
I totally agree, though. I think he has been like a completely he's transformed our country into a freaking garbage heap.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Totally
is
agree
pretty
with
fair.
him. He didn't.
So far, he's spot on, right? Okay. All right. Let's finish it up.
Fashion, character matters, but I'm also old-fashioned in this respect. Results matter. Politics is not just performative, not just entertainment. It's about getting things
Certainly pejorative.
done. And it's been a remarkable 3.5 years from my perspective. It's been, dare I say, a masterclass.
Compared to California, anything looks good.
And I don't say that lightly.
Gosh.
I hope we pause. Democrat, we're so good at focusing again on what's wrong and not celebrating what's right. That's right. Yeah. And so I just want to talk a little bit about that for a second. I mean, we are the envy of the globe. Doesn't matter where you go. The rest of the world looks to us and says, what are they all complaining about? Look at this economy. 40 straight months with unemployment at or below 4%.
Nice.
Best in our lifetime. Lowest unemployment for women in our lifetime. Lowest unemployment for blacks in our lifetime. Lowest unemployment for Hispanics in our lifetime. The lowest uninsured rate in our lifetime. One of the lowest poverty rate. What is it about this, Democrats, that we can't be proud of?
It's like he's at an apartment complex swimming pool.
Didn't his city just waste millions and millions of dollars on a housing facility for homeless people that had like a bike studio and an art studio in it? Didn't they just try to pull that one off? Are they not the ones who consistently have some of the most deplorable third world conditions in his own backyard? But he wants to run around and be the lapdog or ride the coattails of Joe. I'm sorry. Someone else say something right now before I start saying things that I shouldn't be saying on camera.
No, that's what I want. I want to see you pissed off, man. I want to see you cussing and yelling and screaming. No, I don't want to get your blood pressure up. Livia, Gavin Newsom, you've said it on the show plenty of times. You want to see a Youngkin and Newsom, battle. Because they're very similar. They're both Kennedy-like, and they have very different policies. I mean, let's face it.
Very charismatic.
Yeah, Newsom, I don't care what you say about Newsom. He's got that look, and people, are drawn to him, whether he's full of shit or not. But Youngkin, he's our governor. We've had a chance to watch him. We know that a lot of the billionaires tried to hit him up, and he's like, no, I'm not doing it. I'll wait. And he should wait. And what are your thoughts on Newsom? Do you believe any of this? I mean, do you believe any of these people? Does this sell you? Does this change your vote? Does this give you hope for the future? Or do you just feel like they're treating you like a mushroom and feeding you shit and keeping you in the dark?
Oh, is that for me or for?
That's for
Damani?
you, for Amy, anybody.
I'm
just asking. I'm trying to draw some. I mean, because it's like we do this all the time. We hear these guys. Are you inspired by anything they say?
No, not on either side. I mean, Newsom hit it on the head. It's entertainment purposes at this point. They're entertainers. That's what they do. They go up and they talk and they spew a bunch of shit and then they're done. I'm not on any of them. In 2016, I was when Trump did his rallies, but no, not anymore.
How are you now with Trump 2024? I mean, are you balls to the wall, or are you just like, eh?
Now that I've seen him speak a few times and he's kind of reeled it back in from 2020, I was not very impressed with him in his run in 2020. I'm definitely liking him more now than I was in 2020, but I'm not as gung-ho as I was in 2016, I guess you could say. But I'm happy where he's at right now.
Amy?
I mean, I think Newsom is going to be the next presidential candidate for 2028. I hope Youngkin runs. I mean, I love him. And like we were talking about earlier, he has proven himself as the governor. He has done mostly the things he's promised. And I understand he can't withhold or uphold everything he wants to and did promise. He has to give and take. And I think he's been mostly fair in those endeavors. So I would love it to be Youngkin. I think it'd be a good fight, honestly. I think Newsom has a great following. I personally can't stand the man. I don't care if people find him attractive. I don't. I think his character just spews through his face, and I find him very unattractive. I don't know. But but I like Youngkin a lot. I think that would be a great race. I think it would be a very close race, and I think it'd be one that would be fun to talk about a lot, because I think it would be so interesting. As far as Trump goes, I've always thought, when he ran for president, I was like, ha ha, he's the next Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's never going to win. This is comical. And I voted for him in 2016. Thanks Kevin. And I voted for him again in 2020. I didn't mail my ballot in, so I don't know if they get counted or not, but I did go to the polls. So I'm going to vote for him. It's not, I think that we as a country could find somebody better than him, but this is where we are, and this is who we have. So I'm supportive of him, and I just pray to God every day that our country's headed in the right direction and that everything's going to work out for the best, and that's it.
Fair enough. Damani, you want to jump in on that, or you want to assume that the $630 billion California piggy bank is going to fall into the sea? Because, folks, if California goes down, the United States goes down. So if you think that California is going to collapse before Newsom's done, you don't want that. California is like the fourth highest producing country in the world. So you just take it down a step. Damani, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to vote for Trump again in 2024. I'm going to vote for him for the third time, and he's going to win for the third time. One of the reason I say that is because a lot of the people, particularly, I have a bone to pick with a lot of the large influencers out there. And I think a lot of us saw that rift begin to form in real time between, Candace Owens, she's was spotted at a Vivek Ramaswamy campaign event, and then you see other individuals. I don't know, David Harris Jr. is still sitting in the front row of airplanes begging people to give him attention, but I digress. But other influencers, and they're all like, oh look, I'm on this side now, I'm on that side now, and the point I kept on trying to make to people was that because of what we all saw go down in 2020, because we know that 81 million actual living, breathing people did not magically march to the polls one day and vote for Joe Biden, because we know all of that, nothing else matters as a country until we fix and right those wrongs. I've been consistent on that message for the last several years, and be that better election security measures, be that enacting certain measures that are going to prevent the fraudulent chicanery that we saw take place in the wee hours of the morning and the days after the election in 2020. The reason that I'm so enthusiastic about this is because if we allow the left to say, okay, you know what? Yeah, you're right. I know we need to just put Trump out to pasture. He's too old now. You got us on that one, but we're going to get you the next time. I fear that sends the wrong message to those people that, if we can do that to Trump and they're just going to throw their hands up and say, okay, try someone different, then we can do this to anyone else, because no one else on the right side of the aisle right now is anywhere close to as popular and galvanizing as Trump continues to be, in spite of everything we've thrown at him. So part of the reason why I have such enthusiasm to do this is because if we do not get this right as a country, we set a precedent for the future elections to say, we can try our best, but then if the left decides to do what they did in 2020 again, we'll just have to suck it up and move on to the next one. The minute you start preaching that, you've already conceded defeat, in my view. That's just my thought.
It's a good point. I agree with most of it. You and I will have to do another show and talk about the election, and just, I want to try to convince you to change your vernacular on one thing, and that's it. That's it. I don't want to convince you of what's right, what's wrong, what's left, what's right, what's up, what's down. I just want to offer a different perspective on the election, because you and I both agree that something needs to be fixed compared to 2020, because it was a miscarriage of justice. In any way, shape, or form, whether you think that it was stolen or unconstitutional. I just followed the unconstitutional precedent that judges used emergency powers under COVID to change state legislation, which is unconstitutional, which ultimately is just a different viewpoint. But what I've been saying for 4 years, and my numbers add up. We can talk about Dominion servers, we can talk about George Soros, we can talk about bags in the middle of the night, we can talk about 2,000 mules, but most of that stuff is just anecdotal nonsense. But you can actually look at the numbers and physically see that there were 50 million votes that suddenly appeared in that election, and the only way that that's possible is by mail-out ballots. And then we saw the 90-10 splits in some of these blue heavy counties, which have never performed that way. Even Dukakis or Mondale didn't perform that well. To see Joe Biden beat Donald Trump in a 90-10 split, but it was all blue counties in swing states, and that wasn't indicative of what happened across the rest of the country. There is an issue there. Something happened. It's just a matter of finding out what happened. And we'll talk about that. I would love to sit down and chat with you, because I think you said it probably the best I've heard it, is that abandoning Trump right now means they win. And I agree with you. I think there's way too many people who have jumped ship. I think there is an obligation that we have in the job that we do to challenge the things that we don't agree with. I don't agree with vaccine mandates. I don't agree with locking us down. I don't agree with banning bump stocks. I don't necessarily agree with tariffs. But I can say that and still overall support Trump. There's nothing wrong with that. Here's the big thing that Democrats are on, and I think this is the most important thing about this show tonight, is this conversation around Project 2025, which Democrats have launched on two things. Here's the new talking points for the next 2 months until they hit the October surprise 3 months. It's Project 2025 and that Trump is a rapist, child toucher. And they are going and pulling up an old case that's been dismissed about allegations of him sexually assaulting a child. I'm not even going to dignify that shit. We're not even going to talk about it on this show because it's beneath us. It's not true. And everyone can make allegations all they want. But this 2025 thing is everywhere. And when I say everywhere, I mean everywhere. This is the standard. Amy and Olivia, I'm sorry, I'm scrolling over you.
Just cover me.
No,
it's been a
stop
hot
it.
day here. Melting.
Stop it. I'm gonna do this instead, and we'll expand it. Here's what they're saying. Trump's plan for the second term: put Medicare on the path to privatization. Repeal President Biden's Medicare drug price negotiation program. First of all, it's not President Biden, it's Donald Trump. So Damani will back me up on this. Threaten Medicaid coverage for hundreds of thousands of Americans. Medicaid is for millions. I don't know why he would just randomly pick. Reverse the Biden administration student debt relief efforts. Well, the SCOTUS already did that. It's unconstitutional. Withdraw from the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change and the Paris Climate Agreement. You're damn right. Yeah. Repeal the Inflation Reduction Act. Shared greenhouse gas regulations. Replace the White House. Lions and tigers and bears. Mass hysteria. Dogs and cats sleeping together. The whole world's going to end. It's killer hornets. It's radon gas. It's the Amazon rainforest. It's global warming. This is their focus on Project 2025. Here's the thing: is Donald Trump has never promoted Project 2025. He has never commented on it from a positive standpoint. There are similarities, of course, some things, but Donald Trump made this statement, and then I want to get everyone's thoughts, and then we can talk about his true platform, which is Agenda 47. He says, I know nothing about Project 2025. I have no idea who is behind it. I disagree with some of the things they're saying, and some of the things they're saying are absolutely ridiculous and abysmal. Anything they do, I wish them luck, but I have nothing to do with them. This was a Heritage Foundation think tank who kind of, the Republican Party and GOP haven't had a party platform since 2016, came together, and this is the way forward for all Republicans to kind of rally behind, like Democrats have their set of rules that they believe in. And this was the initiative. It is not Donald Trump's platform. We'll go over it. Damani, what are your thoughts on Project 2025 and the validity of it and Trump's response?
It's another example of the lengths that the left will go to paint something in an intentionally untrue or disingenuous light in order to stoke their base into some sort of frenzy. I would argue it's a brilliant move on their part, because we know that nothing motivates individuals to vote quite like emotions do in 2024, which honestly is one of the worst things about politics. People start voting with their hearts instead of their heads, and we wonder why we have problems as a country. But the left did that very intentionally, and they're so good at rebranding and tweaking the words that they use and saying just enough to be able to claim or feign some sort of awareness,
my
but doing
latest
also
TikTok purchase. Let's hope.
Very sorry. Go ahead, Damani. My
Heard something.
apologies.
No, you're good. So they do just enough to convince you, oh my gosh, this is going to be the end of days, which is why you have so many, unfortunately, completely foolish is the nicest term I can use. Young women who, whenever something comes out about abortion or women's rights or this, that, they're going to trot out in their little Handmaid's Tale deal, like pretending that, oh, this is what's going to come in the near future. It's because the Democrats appeal to emotion far better in some cases than the right does. They're going to say, oh, they're going to do this to you and take this away from you. Oh, you better get out and vote. And, they're also between the lines saying, make sure you get nice and violent too, and make sure that you burn American flags on the 4th of July while you support Palestine. But I digress. But that's what they do. This is their playbook. So any way that they can pretend that, oh, something that's going on now, this is because of Joe Biden, Trump's going to take it away. They know that their average supporter, unfortunately, doesn't even have more than 2 brain cells to rub together. So they're not going to remember the fact that some of the policies that they were claiming Trump was going to reverse were policies that he put in place in the first place. It's a completely, it's a position that is completely devoid of a factual basis. I almost find it insulting, and most people should find it insulting, that the left can trot out something that was not even ostensibly tied to President Trump himself and claim this is what Trump is going to do. Listen to us. It reeks of these news articles I see all the time these days where there's a big news story, blah, 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 XYZ happened. Here's what to think about it. I hate when I see those words in a news article, because that means you're going to tell me what you think I should think about it instead of teaching me how to think, period. And because the left is so good at framing things that way, that's why this Project 2025 is actually bubbling up. And to be honest, between you and me, some of the stuff on that list, it doesn't even sound half that bad. I mean, as a conservative myself, I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, yes, this is everything that's going to happen, because we know that all too often, unfortunately, in politics, a lot of promises are made and very few promises are kept. I will give Trump due for the promises that he did keep, but there were some that he was not able to bring to pass. One of the biggest things that I remember is the Rose Garden speech that he gave with a bunch of social media influencers, the really big ones, not the ones out here in the streets like us 4 on this panel who are actually putting in that sweat equity, but the big fancy ones who share other people's content as their own and get millions of likes and take lots of selfies and fly around the country.
Benny Johnson, douchebag. What?
Yep. Mm-hmm. And that's also the same guy who was outed from BuzzFeed for plagiarism a few years ago. But I digress. Yeah. And now he can do no wrong because he's saying the right.
The douche. You know what? Since we're on this topic, I just want to chime in. And he's a stupid prick who stole my set. Nobody had my set. Nobody. Then that son of a bitch stole my. I'm just letting you know. I've never seen one person with an AR behind him. Like, not a Benny Johnson fan. Okay, move on. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but I was bringing them up because they're the ones in the Rose Garden, taking their 50th selfie with Trump, and Trump is talking about what he wants to do for social media. And I would argue part of the reason why we've had to find alternative media sources is because we weren't able to actually enforce a better climate for social media sites and publishers or platforms back when we had the opportunity to do so. So as long as that is the status quo, we're going to have more problems. So I would argue under promise and over deliver to the extent you can probably needs to be one of the things that the individuals on the right need to take a closer look at.
Okay, so we're going to play a game.
Wait.
Go ahead. Sorry, Amy. My bad.
On this, because I had not.
That was the game. Go ahead, though. Oh. Go ahead.
Well, I haven't seen this. Project 20. So this is I just saw I didn't get to read all of it. But I think for your next TikTok, is that what TikTok? That's the Santa video. Please rebuttal these or make a skit about these, because that would be hilarious. Especially I could just see the number 12. I think it was ICE going to playgrounds.
Right.
Really, please make this into a comedy skit. This is amazing. I love it.
Well, exclusively here, but before you keep going exclusively, I will share with your viewers and whatnot here on the platform that the next video that I have is actually going to be a riff or my take on the ridiculous party switch argument. So that's next up in the hopper. So eventually, though, I'm going to get down to future ideas. and it's going to be fantastic. I probably will include that in my Christmas wish list video for 2024. So keep your eyes peeled for that.
Can I be an elf or something? Because like I've done that video and that was like one of my most popular ones. I love the Great Party Switch. I love to talk about that. It's one of my favorite things in the world. So if you're willing, any way I can help, please let me know. I would love to talk about the Great Society. I would love to talk about Manifest Destiny. We can talk about Jim Crow. We can talk about all those things. I love how they try to go ahead and say there was this magical party switch that took place, but unfortunately no Southern state voted for a Republican for 20 years. But I digress. Let's play the game. Liv, did you have something you want to chime in, or do you want to play the game?
Let's play the game.
All right. So this is called Just the Tip. See how it feels. She's not paying attention. Damn it. Okay, she's back.
Child walked in. I have to answer the child.
Well, I didn't see him, so you didn't hear that, son. Pound it, buddy, right here. But okay. Ending Biden's. Thank you, buddy. Go Strauss. All right. So here are the questions. You guys get to tell me if this is Project 2025 or Agenda 47. Please let me know. You can simply raise your hand to buzz in, and you get to tell me your answer. Ending Biden's border crisis, restoring strong immigration enforcement policies, and securing the border.
I don't even know what Agenda 47 is.
So just pretend.
Agenda 47.
Is Donald Trump, okay? I think Damani's going to win this one.
Yeah.
Making America energy independent and dominant again.
Okay. I'm just confused on the rules. I'm sorry. That was like too fast.
You're not
Ethan
supposed.
distracted me. I'm sorry. He's so cute. I just always get like.
Just raise your hand and say Trump. Okay. There's the crib key. Got it.
Got it.
Making America energy independent and dominant again. Raise your hand. Okay, Olivia.
That would be Agenda 47.
That's correct. Okay. Stopping the big government bureaucrats, draining the swamp, and reducing the size of the federal government. Okay, we're done playing. Restoring free speech and fair elections, rebuilding the military, ending endless wars, bringing back jobs in factories, fair trade deals for American workers, lowering taxes and cutting regulations, protecting life and families and unborn life, school choice and education reform, criminal justice reform, rebuilding American infrastructure, ending the opioid crisis, fighting China's economic aggression, veterans care, securing the Second Amendment, Space Force and America's space dominations, reforming the healthcare system. Go to Donald Trump's website. It's there. He has over an hour and 25 minutes of videos, over 4 pages breaking down every one of his platforms. If you want the conservative values that you're looking for in the party platform, it's right there for you to watch. It's easy to find. It has nothing to do with Project 2025. It is a smokescreen. It is bullshit. And once again, it's just liberals doing what they always do, which is lying. Showing you a video real quick. Want to get a comment on this. This was one of my best. I hate TikTok, but I'm going to go ahead and show it to you because they've canceled me so many times. I feel like I am a timeshare. But here is this. Go ahead, Amy.
No, this lady is in my algorithm. I don't know how. She's always in my algorithm. I can't stand this lady. So
well, we're good because we're going to watch this. So I can't wait for you to see it. This was a response video to this lady. Here it is. Her question was, seriously, do you really think this country is in better shape now as opposed to 4 years ago? I have myself in the lower left-hand corner. Watch this, and then we'll play her. She has a new one out. She's a doctor, by the way, which just goes back to Damani's first video. Oh, crap. Why won't it play the audio? Does anyone want to tell me what's wrong here? Oh, I got it. Hold on. Here, refresh. I think I muted it. Okay, hold on. I got to open up in a new window. TikTok is a pain. Does anyone actually like TikTok?
I don't even go on it.
It is one of the most confusing platforms in the world to use.
Ironically, that's my biggest platform out of all the social media platforms, and it's the one that I care about the least because it is chock full of all too often low information and low IQ individuals and they need that dopamine hit so fast. They won't sit down and listen to a 3-minute video. They'll fast forward through it. It's ridiculous.
They didn't ban you yet?
Well, they tried to. They pretty much demonetized me there. I can't promote any videos or whatnot anymore. And I have 430 something thousand followers there on TikTok, and I have to struggle. Dude. I struggle to get over 10,000 views most of the time on a video. So it's completely upside down and ridiculous.
You can ask Olivia. I got 92,000 followers in 72 hours. They got me and banned me. I crushed. I just blew up on there, and then it was very much like Facebook because I blew up on Facebook, but TikTok, man. Anyway, all right. Here's the video. Watch this, and then I've got this will open up and take us to the end of the night. So let's go ahead and listen to this.
I truly think that the country's in
You got to watch the bottom. It's actually kind of
place
funny.
now than it was when Trump was
Oh my God!
president.
Why? I hate this thing. It's horrible. Here you go.
Yes, I do. Of course I do. And of course, Biden has spent much of his time cleaning up the that your fat president, Nimrod, stupid criminal, did to damage this country for so many years. And we're still cleaning up. Not only are we cleaning up governmentally and policy-wise, but we're cleaning up the on the streets because you racist keep everything, shooting everybody, and basically being prejudiced against anybody who doesn't look like your white skin and blue eyes. So do I think this country is in a better place than it was when Trump was president? Yes, I do. You cannot change my mind. Don't even try, because the facts are there. Do some research, factual research, not opinion now, facts.
Well, women should clean up. She blocked me for that comment. Just one sentence. It only took me one sentence to get blocked. She doesn't like me very much. She called me a fucking Nazi something or other and blocked me.
You notice the crazy eyes? That's a common denominator. They say eyes are the window to the soul. It's almost gotten to the point where it kind of freaks me out when I notice it happening. But I can almost look someone in the eye, and about 75% of the time, I can tell based on their general comportment on what side of the aisle they reside. It's the craziest thing in the world. And we can get into another rabbit hole about, the programming and, I would sometimes mind control that could be a factor in that. But it's becoming almost eerie how easy it is to determine someone's persuasions just by the way in which they carry themselves. If you look haggard and if you look like you're some sort of reprobate harridan, then I can usually tell, what you're going to be in support of or not. And it's the craziest thing to me. I just had to throw that in.
No,
thanks so much, Jennifer.
Yes, Jennifer, thank you. And I think it's a good point. Here's part 2. I want you guys to talk about it. Ladies, I apologize. You put somebody like Damani in the same room, and we're going to monopolize the conversation. I do appreciate your temperance and patience. It's been amazing, and we love you.
We're going to throw a tantrum soon, so...
I had a feeling. You know what? That was all just for show for my female viewers. Please follow, like, share, and subscribe if you haven't had a chance. Here's the second video. Here's the thing. It's almost been a year, and she still looks exactly the same. No change. Here it is. Maybe.
Felon step down. Why are we not calling for the felon to step down? Everyone's calling for Biden to step down. Why are we calling for the fucking felon to step down? What the fuck? Even the media is like, oh, Biden, step down, step down. Hello? Rapist? Felon? What? Where? Why aren't we asking in an overall way, why is the media not saying front page, get the felon to step down? Why is it front page, Biden should step down? And all you MAGA, don't even, okay? Don't fucking even.
Oh, I'm going to even.
You're fucking voting for a rapist, okay?
Yeah.
So why aren't we calling for the felon to step down?
Rapist 2024. That's in my vocabulary. Amy, Damani, and then Olivia. Amy, your thoughts on this lovely human being? I mean...
I just want to talk about her appearance, and I don't like doing this, but I do love doing it secretly. It's not just her eyes; it's also her haircut and her fucking glasses. I'm using her, putting her. That's the key to it all. I don't know why this lady pops up in my feed. I didn't block her because I don't know how to do that, but she's always in my feed. I can't stand this woman. I just want to encourage her to take her own advice and do some fact checking and maybe look into Biden's daughter's diary. And Damani, you've probably never watched our show because we're losers, but
speak for yourself, Amy.
I'm kidding. Well, I'm a huge loser.
You're not a loser. You're awesome. Go ahead.
No, I remember watching the episode that my older brother was on. I have nothing but respect for you guys.
Oh, thank you. But I just I'm a huge advocate for children and keeping our children safe. And it's just, I will die on this hill alone. So for her to call Trump a rapist, and he wasn't convicted of rape, to my knowledge, I don't know, maybe there's some
Nope, you're right.
I don't know, maybe, yeah, I'm just didn't know if there was something back in the day. I don't know. I just think it's really horrible that they want free speech. They can spew these lies openly. If we were to say that Biden was a rapist or a child pedo or whatever, which there's clearly, in my opinion, this is my opinion, everybody, that there's more evidence to support that from what I've seen with my own eyes on TV. It's a horrible world. I don't know. I'm flustered. I hate TikTok too. I hate this lady. I don't know her name, but like, yeah, if her hair was blue, I would be like, yes, or green or purple, whatever. She's just, yeah. And her puka shell.
Well, she doesn't have a nose ring, which is shocking to me. No nose ring. I mean, that usually is like a staple.
Up. Could be flipped up.
Well, she's a doctor.
Is her name Karen?
Karen Eschenbaumer-Hofer. Yes.
Gotcha. You know who she reminds me of?
That was a total Bill Murray. Eschenbaumer-Hofer. Go ahead.
She reminds me of the chick on Waiting that complains about her food.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's just like
complains about her food.
Asked, this is rare. I asked for well done. What is wrong with you people? What is so hard about?
So hard.
You can't take a food order.
Can't take a food order. Yes, that's what she reminds me of.
Before we go any further, I just want to show this before I hand it over to Damani. Here is the actual E. Jean Carroll. This is what we do. We can bring receipts on this show. But United States District Court, Southern District of New York, Carroll, Donald Trump. It's 5923. This is certified. This is actually a scan. I can get this from the Freedom of Information Act. Did Miss Carroll prove by a preponderance of evidence that Mr. Trump raped Miss Carroll? No, is the answer. If you answered yes, skip to question 4. If you answered no, continue to question 2. Mr. Trump sexually abused Miss Carroll. Yes, he did. If you answered yes, skip to question 4. If you answered no, continue to question 3. Mr. Trump forcibly touched Miss Carroll. Don't you think that's important when you're actually talking about sexually abused? If you sexually abuse someone...
I had to skip that question.
No. But why would you? I want to know... Okay. And then it says Miss Carroll was injured as a result of Mr. Trump's conduct. Yes. He didn't rape her. And by his own admission and the court filing, there's nothing there about rape. But here's my problem. If you're accusing someone of sexually abusing somebody, you should check the box that he touched her, because there's emotional abuse, there's physical abuse, there's a lot of different types of abuses. You should be very specific. If you leave it blank, you're opening that up for interpretation. The question I have is that she can't remember exactly what happened. She can't remember the date that it was. There was no eyewitnesses. She didn't come out screaming. She brought this up during the 2016 run, and then it's reinvigorated in the 2024 run. Do you think that's just politically advantageous, or does this woman have an actual gripe? Minus the fact that she colors her rocks pink and blue, and she is completely batshit crazy. He didn't rape her. Damani, your thoughts on this lady, please.
On E. Jean Carroll or the TikTok lady?
I don't know. Pick it. Just pick one.
You know, we'll talk about the TikTok lady because, actually about barely 3 months ago, there's a couple other liberal TikTokers tried to get me fired from my job for giving them just a tiny taste of the vitriol they dish up to conservatives all day long, all day, every day. There's a problem in this country as it relates to individuals' ability to comprehend complex topics and fully flesh them out. You have to use your brain here. If Trump was some horrible, incorrigible rapist who's running a roughshod on the streets, just assaulting women indiscriminately at random, don't you think that in the years between 2015 and 2024, that quote credible allegations would have been levied, investigated, and punitive measures would have been assessed? This is nothing more than another attempt to brand Trump in a certain way that's going to sway someone to vote based off their emotions instead of based on logic and common sense. And that's one of the things that grates on me the most about how the left is able to do this over and over again. It's straight out of a Marxist playbook, straight out of a communist playbook, I would argue. They've done this time after time, and people fall for it every time. And the reason people like that lady on TikTok are up in the algorithm, you can't get away from their faces, because TikTok knows that a lot of their viewers are young people who, for the most part, are incapable of critical thinking. So those young people are just going to believe the first thing someone says who looks halfway like a human themselves. So TikTok has weaponized the dissemination of actual information, and they turn it into some sort of game. Because if you know anything about social media, you know if you just say the right things on TikTok, oh yeah, they'll boost you. Oh yeah, you'll grow real fast. But the minute you say something that's different, oh, community guidelines violations. Oh, your account's banned. Oh, no, we can't have that here. And, if you look deeper into TikTok, obviously you know why that is. TikTok, I would argue, we can talk about this some other time. I believe it's a tool that is being utilized as a way to further dumb down the West and prepare us for extinction of some sort, whether that be the extinction of our country as we know it today, or even worse. But it is because people prioritize, especially now in 2024, they want the easily regurgitated soundbite. Oh, felon. Rapist. Oh, 2 syllables. I can remember that. That's why they're all marched down the streets all the time like no borders, no wall, no USA at all. It's a chant a 5-year-old would come up with, because all too often they have the sophomoric or juvenile mentality in the first place. They can't remember complex topics. They can't look back a few years to know what the actual scoreboard says or what the actual information is. They're going to sit there, oh, no human being is illegal. Love is love. This and that. All these things that a preschooler can recite, because they have that complete dearth of the ability to think critically for themselves. And that's why individuals like the crazy TikTok lady, I saw a girl who was burning the American flag talking about, we need to have Pride Month Part 2. I had to restrain myself from creating a response video on that, similar to the one that Matt made for this other wonderful young lady. I could wax loquacious and talk about this till the cows come home, but all I have to say is the more we as a society get in each other's faces and have those conversations, even if it just means asking people questions. I was talking to my barber. I posted on X about it a few days ago. I got a haircut 2 days ago. Just sitting there asking questions, are things better for you? What do you think about how life is now? You walk them down the path and they don't even realize it until it's too late. And they're that, frog in the pot of boiling water. But those are the interactions you need to be having. Nothing breaks my heart more, particularly now that I have a daughter myself, than seeing a family out at a restaurant and the kids are just sitting there looking at their tablets. The parents are in theirs. There's no interaction. The human experience has been irrevocably damaged because of the scamdemic that was perpetrated upon the American people for the past several years. Some people are never coming back, and that is an unfortunate reality. But there is still hope for us to actually reconvene, to get together like even our founding fathers did in the local pubs, in the local town halls, and just start talking again, instead of becoming so mesmerized by the technology that is being introduced to walk us down that primrose path to extinction. And we have to choose a better path, and we have to bring back intelligent, civil, polite discourse by any means necessary. I guess that's kind of where I'll put the fork in it for this time.
No, Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. Read it if you have not read it. It is Hillary Clinton did her thesis based upon this, and it is required reading. If you're a conservative and you want to know what they're doing, this is it. And this is straight out of 1950s oligarch Russia leaving Hollywood, leaving because of Montgomery Clift, because of Ronald Reagan, because of John Wayne, who fought the Screenwriters Guild that was predominantly Russian oligarchs who were bringing communism into this country through Hollywood, were expelled from Hollywood. And they went and fell back on their liberal arts degrees, teaching in the major colleges and universities around this country. And that is why we've lost our educational system. This is all in this book. You can read it. It's pretty easy to understand. That video that you're talking about, I'm not sure if this is the one. We'll end it on this. If you have not had a chance, first of all, go to DamaniFelder.com. We're going to give Damani his final minute here in just a second. If you have not also had a chance, watch the video I made today. A little bit funnier. It was in spirit of Damani, surprisingly enough. I made that video because of what he does. And, unlike Benny, I'll give him credit. Replication is the highest form of flattery. But that video was, the nursing home in Shady Acres, how Joe Biden's ready. It's funny enough. It's not as good as Damani, but it's close. This is the video I wanted to show you two, you three, and we'll end it here and then give our final minutes. This might be the lady that he's referencing. And listen to the words of the AI song. And if I get a copyright strike off this AI bullshit, I swear to YouTube.
I'm not proud to be an American where I know that I'm not free. And I won't forget
It sounds like Kamala Harris is singing.
the ones who took my rights away from me. But I'll gladly stand up and fight for us in every single way. 'Cause there ain't no doubt, I know we can defend Roe versus Wade.
So that flag's got more problems than having third-degree burns. It now has hepatitis.
I hear there's some lovely available property in Gaza. Maybe she can go move there.
On the
Yes.
waterfront, like beautiful beaches, like
Oh,
absolutely.
yes, totally. She'll be very free there.
Can you guys do something with these women? I mean, what is up with white liberal women, Olivia and Amy? Can you guys rein your?
I'm not a white liberal woman.
I know, but
so
can you
what am I
rein?
supposed
Can
to
you
know?
rein your people in or something?
She's not
Because
my people.
they're all batshit crazy.
She's not my people.
First of all, people are flipping out over that, and I don't care. Flag code law, and I know it, and I'll be selling a new book about that. That's going to be based off the Documents of Freedom box that we sell, and it's Flag Etiquette 101, which is really a cool book, and it's hardcover. It's beautiful, just like the other Documents of Freedom. But sorry, plug. It doesn't matter. You can wear American flag clothing. What it's saying is you can't wear the American flag. You can't take that flag, cut it, and wear a piece of clothing. You can wear American flag on your stuff. It doesn't matter. And those flags are not authentic and proportionate. Those stars are actually off center, or the stripes aren't the same width. And the reason why they do that is so it's not a replica of the flag. So everyone needs to calm the hell down. But either way, for all intents and purposes, she's burning the American flag. Olivia, you got 30 seconds. Amy, 30 seconds. Damani, 30 seconds. What does that make you feel like? Why in the hell is it bad to be an American? Why is it bad to have patriotism? Why is it now an ugly word? Olivia, go.
Because the liberals have got a hold of our educational system and they've taught it in the schools. And it's sad and it's horrible. And we're going to be dealing with this in a few years when Hayden goes to college.
There's no way Hayden's going to bend. She's going to
That's true.
destroy those
I'd be
people.
more worried about Ethan than Hayden. But
Oh, I don't know. Ethan's pretty sharp. He watches politics now. He's
That's
watching
true.
every day, and he's like, "Dad, turn it up. I want to hear this." So I don't know. I think our kids are going to be okay. But go ahead.
I don't know. It's just it's sad that people think this way, and they follow all of the celebrities that are like, I'm going to move if Trump gets elected. We stand in tampon for mother.
Amy Bordeaux says, we stand in tampon aisles for a month and round them up.
That's awesome.
Oh, God. Just leave a trail of Midol going to aisle 12.
Oh, that was fantastic.
Go ahead, Liv. Go ahead.
They're following celebrities that say that Trump is a horrible person and being a patriot, and we're going to burn the White House and blah, 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 blah. And celebrities assassinating presidents and all, they follow those people because they think they're gods and idols. And they need to follow those people when those people say, if Trump gets elected, I'm leaving the country. Okay, go leave the country. We don't want you here anymore. This country was founded on freedom, and you're free here. Go to frickin' Afghanistan if you think you have no rights. Go to frickin' Iran and spew your bullshit in Iran in the middle of the streets and see how far that gets you.
Go to California. That's pretty bad, too.
But the fact that these people say all their freedoms have been taken away and all their rights have been taken away, you have freedom because you can say something like that. And that's the first thing to realize that you are wrong, that you can actually say something. Because not many countries you can say shit like that in public and not get in trouble for it. So.
Yep. Freedom.
Also, I just heard that E. Jean Carroll and Christine Blasey Ford are now besties, and they're going to go on a Thelma and Louise ride, and hopefully it ends the same way.
Yeah, that's a porn I don't want to watch. Amy, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think Olivia did a great job of touching on everything. This woman is what is wrong with patriotism in our country. To not have any love for your country it's pretty sad, and to want to murder babies is a greater thing to you than being able to speak that and saying like I want to kill babies. Like that's so important to me. You can say that, but we should also be allowed to say, you know, I think it's really wrong to kill babies who haven't had a chance. I'm okay with adult people who have committed murder, like death row. I'm like all for that for most circumstances, but I don't know. It's disappointing.
Well, they know the difference between right and wrong. They had a choice. Babies don't.
Correct. It's disappointing. It does go back to our educational system. I don't know what the project was called, but it was started, I think, in 1972, where they did infiltrate the colleges, and then they worked their way down from there. And now they are in our elementary schools, which was like they had this whole plan. I say they because I don't know the project name, but there was an actual project. It was like, let's try this out and see if we can fuck up everybody in America. And I think they're doing a great job. And I don't know, you guys know my school struggles. So I'm always like, we're going to try it. We're going to try public school. I don't know if we ever will. I keep saying like, I'm going to let them go at some point, but it scares me more and more every day. And remind me to tell you something that I learned this weekend about the school that your children will be going to.
Now's the time. So tell us quickly, and then Damani can go.
This comes from a teacher from my kid's school. Her children go to the public high school, and they were not allowing the children to call their parents or mom or dad. They said they had to call them parental units. And I'm not joking. Like this, and this is from a teacher from my children's school. Like she's Catholic. She has no reason to make this up. So I was like, what? So it was, I just learned this the other day. And I was like, are you kidding me? They would not get in trouble for it, but they would be corrected constantly. You can't say mom or dad or my parents. It was parental units. That was the language they were being told to use.
We need to ask Caden and Ethan's opinion
We
about that
will. We will. Well, she calls you birthing parent.
That's true. I'm birth giver in
birth
her
giver.
phone.
That's a joke. Social welfare is the closest thing that you're saying, Amy. And that's really was the change of when they identified that equity was somehow more important than meritocracy. And by the way, I'll say this, and this is a great t-shirt. Kamala Harris is the greatest diversity hire for Joe Biden ever, because the only reason why he isn't gone is because they've made the worst possible decision as vice president. Welcome to DEI. Damani, take us home, answer that, talk about it, and then you got 1 minute. It's all you, brother.
Yeah, going back to the original video that we were all responding to, it's unfortunate that how so many leftists have prioritized that ability to continue to murder unborn children. Let's be very clear. Most of them don't really feel the way that they purport to feel. Most of them want to feel as if they are a part of something, part of a movement, part of something that is constructive, that is going somewhere, because for the vast majority of individuals out there on the left side of the aisle, they have no hope. They have no future. It is just the here and now, and that is it. That is why I would argue in many cases that they leap at the opportunity to engage in the promotion of abortion, because new life and the blessings that God gives us in those new lives represent hope and hope for the future. And so it would be anathema to someone who does not have hope for the future, anything else to look forward to, or who possibly has mutilated their own body beyond the point of no return. So many of these people out there are lost, I would argue. I make no attempt to hide the fact that I am a Christian, and I do believe that we do need to be willing to stand up and wage this war, this ideological or metaphorical war, and be ready to give an answer for the hope that lies within us. So I'm just here to tell those people, as hard as they go for everything that is unholy and impure and that has zero semblance of verisimilitude, I will go just as hard, if not harder, on the right side of the aisle, because I do believe it is a blessing to be put on this earth at this point in time to fight the battles that we fight every single day. And I will continue to do that to the best of my abilities for as long as God gives me the ability to be here on this earth. I want to say thank you to everybody out there who tuned in tonight. thank you all, this amazing team, this amazing show for finally having me on. It took me a while longer than it did for Trey, but I'm so honored and grateful to have the opportunity. Those of you out there who are looking to find me elsewhere, you can find me on Facebook at Damani Bryant Felder. Find me on Instagram at the Damani Felder. Find me on X at the Damani Felder. Find me on Telegram at t.me/the Damani Felder. My website, DamaniFelder.com. My YouTube channel, The Wright Brothers, RIGHT Brothers, IPID. I am also on Rumble. I am on Gab. I'm a million different places, and it's just me, but I can't say thank you enough for being here. I am not a person who will ask for donations. Those of you who are so inclined, though, I'm sure you can find the way to do that via any of my social channels, and I want to thank those of you who've taken it upon yourself to support me in that fashion. But God bless you all, and I will yield back. But again, thank you all so much for having me.
Yeah.
Amy.
Thank you for letting me go next. Damani, it's been like, honestly, I'm not just saying this, I've never said this, like, you've been my favorite guest to have on. I really enjoy, maybe it's because I do follow you and I enjoy what you put out there. I follow you, probably, I don't do like the other social media, so I watch you on YouTube, which so I'm probably behind the times. So I do enjoy watching you. I feel like I know you a little bit, and because I appreciate that you share your personal life with us, not overly share, like enough. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's great. I love that about you. I just appreciate you so much. I'm so glad to have you on here today, and it's just been such a pleasure to do this. I think that you and Matt should do like some comedy specials together or something like that. That's my only 2 cents. And I'm really hoping, because we are, okay, I'm not a Christian because I'm a Catholic, so I learned that I'm not a Christian.
Yeah, you're not a Christian, so
yeah. Learned that this year. I'm hoping you'll lead us in prayer like you do with your other videos. That would be like amazing for me. Sorry, selfish.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. Really quick. I'm sorry. I said the F word twice, and they've called me out, and I'm sorry for saying the F word twice.
Who called you out?
No, no one was like saying it in a negative way. They were just like, "Oh my gosh, Amy is dropping cuss words," and I'm sorry for that.
There's nothing in the Bible that talks about cursing. Okay, now you can go ahead and take the line that's in the Bible, but that has nothing to do with.
I'm sorry for if no one's saying they're offended at all. They're just surprised, so it's fine.
Could you apologize? You should apologize. I'm a little offended, honestly. Thank you.
Sorry.
Try to clean it up a little bit, okay?
How dare you, Amy?
Jeez, Amy. Seriously. Okay.
Thank you, Amy. I appreciate it. I'd be happy to pray as well.
Yeah,
the rest are in agreement.
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement. Please lead us. We're ready. We're listening and we're ready to go.
Oh, right now?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Give me my minute, but okay.
No, we're gonna go. Olivia, we're gonna go to you, but
okay.
I think God is first, don't you think?
Yes.
I mean, let's save some room for the Holy Ghost, shall we?
All right. Well, God, thank you for bringing us together, for giving us the ability to speak to each other, even from many, many miles away. I thank you so much for the body of individuals who also have chosen to spend this evening with us. We thank you for the ability to speak freely, even in the midst, in the face of the continued persecution. We know that the trying of our faith works patience, and we're so grateful that you have entrusted us with this time in American history to be those individuals who will boldly speak truth to those who need to hear it, regardless of the consequences, because we know that persecution in the here and now looks very different from what it used to. And we thank you for the ability to even soldier on in the midst of all the attacks for your glory and not our own. I ask you to protect the families of everyone else who joined me on this show this evening. Protect them as well. Give them peace that passes all understanding. Give them hope for the future. Give them resolve, determination, and resilience, and everything else that they need to be the best version of themselves for the world around them to see the light that only comes from you through them to other individuals. And we thank you so much again for this time. Bless and keep us this weekend as we get closer and closer to Election Day, and may your will be done. And we praise you in the midst of the storm, and we look forward to the brighter days ahead. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
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 And please look out for our
way better than I am. Like when you're like,
yeah, no, well, no, it's nice.
We're Catholic. We have structured prayers. We don't do that off the cuff. So thank you. That was beautiful.
Also, BK Boone, a listener of ours who is in dire need of some grace. So please, let's keep him in our thoughts and prayers. BK is an avid listener and friend and someone we love, and his courage is amazing. I hope I have as much when my time is called, because he knows, and he still cares and puts others first. I mean, the guy ordered coffee for Amy today. just because
Aw.
he loves her, and his life is in the balance. So we'll continue to pray for him. Liv.
Yeah, I would like to say thank you for being here, Damani. Appreciate it. I have to say that I have never watched your show, never watched your brother's show.
She's racist.
No,
so.
yeah, that's true. I know. Sorry. I guess admitting it is the first step,
It's the
right?
first.
It's the first step.
First step to being a liberal.
Yep,
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
Yes.
I remember I did watch the Christmas list video.
Yeah.
But I have a full-time job before this one, so I have no time. I don't watch any other shows, so it's not just you. I don't watch any other shows. But I also want to thank you for making me feel much stupider today, because half of the words that came out of your mouth, I didn't understand. And between you and Matt, yeah, I'm going to go read a dictionary before I go to bed now, because I was not raised by to read big words. So next time, make sure you use 5-cent words.
You're hot.
5-cent words, not dollar words. Okay.
Yeah, you are hot.
Fair enough.
I'm only valued by my face, so I mean, I guess it's okay.
And your pot pie making abilities.
And my
Don't
pot
put
pie
yourself
baking.
Make a good pot pie.
Yes, my pot pie baking.
A propensity.
Well,
of
I feel you
starve-
on having a full-time job. It's not easy. I've held one down this whole time. I think that makes people relate and respect you a different way if you're able to still speak out and find a way to do it, in spite of having a full-time job, because then that truly means that you're coming home from work and you're still making something else your passion, something else your priority. So I'll always respect you for that, and it's an honor to have you here. And if you do ever want to check out my work, I think you'll be in for a treat, because some of it's funny, some of it's cerebral, but it all comes from the heart, and it all is for a good cause.
Yeah. Propensity for high vocabulary is based on experience, not necessarily intelligence. So you bring into the fold what you want, and you take what you can. So I've listened to you speak, and you may not use words that you consider to be profound or large, but your meaning is understood either way. Where unfortunately Damani and I sometimes lose people. You don't have the risk of that happening, because you speak or people understand, and that's a gift. So I wouldn't look at it as a handicap. I would look at it as something that you should be proud of.
I bring in those suburban women that you guys lost along the way.
And you're hot.
I'll pull them back in.
And you're hot.
There you go.
I want to take my minute, and I'll wrap it up. I there's not much else that I can say, except that I'm thankful for this, and I'm glad it happened. And it's rare that I want to listen more than talk, and I appreciate you participating and just giving us an understanding of your perspective. And I know for a fact we don't agree on everything, and guess what? There's nothing that says that we have to. And in fact, I think some of the best friendships that I have formed in disagreement. So thank you for honoring us, and thank you for being here. I'm so proud of you, man. I've said that before, to see your journey and to care about not just your spirituality, but your physical relationship with your wife and your children. They are going to be blessed to have you in their lives for a long time, and I'm just so very proud of the work you've done, and keep it up. It's a journey that you're not done with. It's going to be here for the rest of your life, and I'm so excited for you to continue. So thanks for being on the Don't Unfriend Me show. We really truly appreciate having you here, and you're back and welcome anytime. If there's anything I can do to help or anything that I can do to contribite, please let me know. And the answer is yes before anything.
Yeah, and if you guys
Thank you
ever
so
come
much
to
for that.
DC, like if you bring the family to DC for any reason, or like near like Maryland, Virginia, like all the places, like we're close to everything, please
The
come and
shithole
see us.
right here.
Yeah,
I'm super jealous of you. You're in Houston. I miss Houston.
We miss our old
I miss
hometown.
Texas.
Don't miss the humidity. I'll tell you that. It's hurricane season down here. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that. We were there for Harvey.
Yeah, we were.
Oh,
there
God.
We love Houston. We're big fans, and we love Houston.
Yeah.
And
Yenny says hello as well.
yeah, we miss.
Well,
it,
I'd like to extend the invitation, vice versa. If y'all ever find yourselves in Houston, I will definitely let you guys know. I do want to come back on, because I so enjoyed this conversation. I love that we're able to compare our ideas and agree or disagree, and do so all civilly and respectfully. If only the world could follow suit, and it will, as long as we continue having conversations just like this.
Well, God bless. Well said. Thanks for putting a bow on it, folks. If you have not had a chance, stop by Wimkin. Wimkin, Damani has signed up over there, and you can follow him over there. Really simple to find. And Wimkin is an amazing platform, free speech, 9 million followers. It is the only place where you can go and say what you want to say without being having fear of being censored or deplatformed. It's a great platform. Jason Shepard is a godly man. He is a giving man. I've known him for 60 days, and I'll tell you the things that he has done for my followers, from when they've lost a relative, sending them money, sending them gift flowers, and calling them personally. He emulates the way I try to treat people and treat my listeners. And when someone's downtrodden or having a time, I'll pick up the phone. And I may not be the most holy and spiritual of people, but I do believe in taking care of your fellow man. Thank you for taking care of us and being with us tonight. God bless. Damani, once again, thank you, everybody. We will see you next time on the Don't Unfriend Me Show. Have a great weekend. Take care of each other, and see you then. Good night, everybody. Say good night, Amy.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me
Y'all
Show.
take care.
With your hosts,
Damani, thanks, brother. We'll talk to you
Leroy,
soon.
Amy,
Absolutely.
Olivia, and Mike. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on the Spreely.tv network and all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.